Don't worry, Alfredo. I'll breathe for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cinema Forecast during Aquatic Month. It's me, Fredo,
I'm back at it, Connor.
and today we are talking about Waterworld.
It's a world of water.
1995, Waterworld, Kevin Costner. And to join us on this venture today, very good friend of mine, Jacob Bruce is here with us.
Hey there. I'm excited to be here.
Jacob and I play in a band together. It's called Laminate. Y'all should check it out. Actually, Connor today showed up. He's rocking some Laminate merch. We're all wearing band t-shirts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, just a bunch of Seattle dudes hanging out, wearing band t-shirts, recording a podcast about Waterworld.
Why don't you tell us who you're repping over there, Fredo?
I've got a Tagabo shirt that's They Are Gutting a Body of Water. It is a crossover They Are Gutting a Body of Water Philadelphia 76ers t-shirt. So just shoegaze and basketball, two of my passions. What about you, Jacob? Who you repping?
I've got Guitar Jesus himself, Dinosaur Jr. on my
Nice.
t-shirt over here.
Hell yeah. The one guitarist I get compared to along with Jerry Garcia. So the two chubby dudes with long hair.
Love it.
We love it. And we love you, Fredo.
Hey, I love you, dude. Love you both. I'm very excited for this. As I said, it's Aquatic Month. Last week we were talking about Jaws, and this week, like we said,
Oh, did we intro what Cinema Forecast is?
Cinema Forecast, of course. This is the movie podcast where every month we are randomly assigned by the legally distinct movie roulette a category. Attached to those categories are 4 movies that we feel fit the category. And every week we take one of those movies and we go in deep, 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 like underwater deep.
Wow.
And we discuss it in the context of the category.
That's right. And we're back at it again. Waterworld. Do you guys remember the first time you saw Waterworld?
No, I don't, but I remember loving it as a kid, weirdly enough.
Hell yeah. I watched it all the time as a kid. We had it on VHS. It was just one of the ones we'd pop in all the time. Super fun movie. Very sexual for a kid, I will say, especially seeing it again. But yeah, as I've mentioned before, I watched a lot of R-rated stuff. Wait, actually, what is the rating on this? This is an R though, right?
They definitely say fuck at one point. It's a non-sexual fuck. I am looking at it right now, and it's PG-13.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Wow.
Interesting.
A Peach 13.
I want to say that Waterworld was my first pair of cheeks on screen, I think.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, I believe
It's
so.
a fine pair.
It is a fine pair of cheeks. But yeah, I remember seeing it on premium TV all the time,
Oh, yeah.
Flipping through the satellite channels back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah, Connor, I feel like you have addressed this thing about how like you watched all sorts of stuff because you were the youngest in your family and your parents didn't really care. My parents didn't believe in censorship and
Nice.
don't really, so they didn't really care what I watched, and pretty sure I saw this with my dad and, saw all sorts of wild shit. And I'm fine for the most part.
Yeah, I will say all the Dragon Ball Z probably made me a bit more of a violent child.
Yeah. Word. Yeah.
Well, I can say that I grew up in a very sheltered home,
Oh,
and
is that right?
it didn't do me any favors. So
They were still rocking Waterworld in the sheltered home, though.
I mean, when you're left to your own devices, just kind of flipping through the channels,
Yeah.
anything's fair game, really. So,
Heck yeah.
but I always thought it was a cool movie as a kid. Just the world building of it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say it's a cool movie now. I mean, this is no Country for Old Men or There Will Be Blood. This isn't like high art, trying to get to the core of what it means to be a human. But
No, it does try. There is definitely moments where it tries and it fucking fails. But yeah, it's a fun movie. Yeah, I'll give it that for sure.
And like what you were saying about world building, I do think it does shine on some world building stuff where like especially like we'll get into it soon, but all the setup of like what this thing costs this many chits and I'll trade you this for this, and like the reverence around him having soil and all that, I find that stuff really interesting and like wanting to know more. I like that they're kind of vague about a lot of the like exactly how far after this is when the world became a water world. What do the people of this world know? What don't they know? What is their religion? They're praising Poseidon at some point. Is that their actual god or what's going on there?
Yeah. Well,
they're
fucking
speaking Portuguese.
Portuguese.
it's their own language. Yeah.
And I will say, as good as they did do on the world building, I thought there was a couple places where they got really lazy or it felt really
There was
flat. Like with the oil and the gas
I
and the
felt
guns.
like a lot of the ideas were first idea, best idea, and it works in some parts, and some parts it falls flat. But I think before we're really getting into some really good stuff, but let's line up some themes really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to every time we sort of like get this new category, come up with some themes that like sort of like encompass what is well, I think Connor and I have different approaches to it. There's like what does water evoke, or like what constitutes like an aquatic movie, I think are like two different approaches for it.
Totally.
But hit him with it, baby.
Yeah, so I got 9 themes I wrote down at the beginning of this category.
Oh yeah, daddy.
Oh yeah, number 1 is freedom. Number 2 is sanctity of land. Number 3 is isolation. Number 4, man versus nature, Lovecraftian horror, insanity, beauty of nature, and longing.
Hell yeah, baby. And as we've discussed previously, there's some practical things you want to see happen. We need those wide shots to sort of set us up for like the scale of the ocean. We want that sound design to have that rumbling sort of nature to it, the like almost like sonar underwater like sound carrying for miles in this muted way. Also, they got to get wet, baby.
They gotta get wet.
They gotta get
we
wet.
like them wet.
Oh yeah, baby. Gotta get nice, and they gotta be splashes. Yeah. A lot of splashes in this shit, dude.
Oh man, they get wet in this one. That's
get
one
real
thing
wet.
they do a lot of.
They do a lot of that.
Should we jump right into it?
Yeah, let's fucking go, dude. I think I do something I like. Cool rumbling right off the beginning, and the Universal logo gets flooded. As we've discussed several times
I
on
love
this
that.
podcast.
I thought that was really cool.
I love
yeah.
that.
The other
Anytime they alter a logo at the beginning of the movie to fit the theme of the movie, I'm like, let's fucking
Yeah,
go.
exactly. That's what we talked about on our first episode, The Matrix. Like, you're like, this is fun because, like, production companies, whatever, they're like the capitalistic garbage that has to be like a necessary part of the movie making process. What we want is fucking sick, fucking sci-fi content, and the world flooding was sick.
You're immediately immersed, I think.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is what Earth looks like now.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, as we have in several episodes already experienced, a little bit of VO.
Yeah.
It can be done well, it can be done bad. And honestly, I will say, didn't need this one at all.
No,
the
I think
image,
they
I
could've-
was like, the image is so genius. It does such a good job of conveying the
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
And then the VO comes in. I'm like,
It's a little
of course.
obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Very stereotypical too. It's very much the in a world.
But here's the thing, though. We say that it's obvious right now
True.
because this has been common knowledge
Yeah.
for the last
30
20
years.
years. But
Yeah.
30 years ago, it wasn't common knowledge that the ice caps were melting. Like, let's be real. So
I mean,
the
it-
fact that they're
yeah.
adding real science into science fiction, whether or not the science to us is now kind of old,
Sure.
I think at the time people weren't really aware of what.
Yeah,
climate
and I
change
mean,
was
if
doing.
you're thinking about this movie as being like a broadly like marketed film, there are probably a lot of people who weren't aware of that, or I don't know.
I can't say how aware they were of the climate crisis in the 90s. I know that a lot of the big kind of burst in the scientific community, I believe, was in like the 70s or the 60s. But how much that hit the mainstream by the 90s, I don't know.
Yeah, usually a lot of those things are like, science has known about them and like people don't really listen and don't
Sure.
really care,
Yeah.
But yeah. Cool, great. So we love the production intro. This movie has an iconic intro that I had completely forgotten about, but have just heard people talk about so much, and it's him like pissing. And the way that he fucking there's this choice about the clenching of the cheeks, like the
Yeah.
visible clenching that is so specific. And
I think you're in for something special when
Yeah.
when a movie starts with a dude pissing. It's just like, this is some high class
Well,
stuff.
it kind of fits in with that Lone Ranger.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you almost get that in like the Western movie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the gruff. You're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, this guy's gruff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's
This is a grimy world where
Yeah.
people have to make hard decisions, Jacob.
yeah, I actually, that's such a good point because like I didn't really connect it until now. I just thought it was like, oh, piss, water, or whatever. But like what you're saying is a good point. He's like a rude dude with a bad attitude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Western is a really good connection I hadn't made, but this does have some Western vibes, right? Like you have instead of the rough and tumble bandits out like causing mayhem in the town or whatever, you have the smokers which are
Wow, dude,
Yeah.
holy shit. So before Connor got here, Jacob and I were just chatting a little bit, and it's so much shit is clicking for me now that you've said the Western thing and knowing what you said earlier. So would you mind, especially since this is our introduction to the Mariner, if you could talk a little bit about the whole drifter archetype thing you were telling me.
Right. So, I mean, Kevin Costner in this movie is sort of your stereotypical like archetype of the drifter. Like,
Right.
he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't really get along well
Yeah.
with
Clint
people. But he's
Eastwood, right?
great.
Like in the
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, in Mad Max, right? It's
Yeah.
like the director of this movie saw Mad Max and was like, I've got a great idea.
absolutely.
We'll do this in the water. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I don't know. I thought it was fun to see that archetype in that world for
Yeah.
sure.
For us, it's really fun too because we were doing desert movies, which is the typical setting for what you see with like fucking cowboys and shit.
Right.
And now we got like a water cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His catamaran is
Exactly.
sick as fuck too, dude. Like, the boat, I'm like obsessed with. Like,
It's very cool. Yeah.
I feel like when I was a kid, I probably wanted a toy of it so badly. You know?
Well, there's a lot of really cool set design stuff in this in general, and just like we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast. It just like the world building and just the attention to detail on some of these things where they really thought out a lot of like the mechanisms of how like they had like for example when they have the whole gate sequence, like the breakdown of how the gate opens. They really they could have just made it like a crank or something, but it's some like complicated system where you have to push something to the other side and do some other thing. And, like,
There's
a lot
good
of-
process sequences, like
Yeah.
good process shots in this, and a lot of it is really cool, like boat shit as well. I
Yeah.
will say, I did feel like a lot of the production design was, besides those like things that they interact with, are very like look over function. I do think
Yeah.
that it does look kind of, it feels kind of like Fallout very much. Like that's the kind of vibe I get from it. But some of the shit you see them wearing, I'm just like, that's completely impractical. But I mean, that's a criticism you could levy at
Yeah.
so many of like these kinds of movies, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to call out that there is some like cool kind of like tribal drum music coming into it. I do like the score of this film. It has a pretty cool theme. James Newton Howard is the composer. However, this is a surprise for me, an uncredited Hans Zimmer.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Isn't that
Wow.
wild? Speaking
An uncredited Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, speaking
Wow.
of uncredited, during our Pirates of the Caribbean episode, we failed to mention that one of the main composers for that was Hans Zimmer's assistant, Klaus Badelt. Am I saying
Yeah,
that
and
right?
I think he's the one who also like conducted like the orchestra for a lot of the pieces.
Yeah. From what I read, which was just a little bit, Hans Zimmer was kind of the main like melody theme writer, and then Klaus Badelt was the kind of arrangement manager and the actual composer for.
Yeah, we lied. Connor's wearing a Hans Zimmer shirt, and I'm wearing a Klaus Badelt shirt, and friggin' Jacob's wearing an Arvo Part shirt.
Yeah, it's funny. I do kind of, now that I saw Hans Zimmer, like that main theme does have a little bit of Zimmer in there.
At the end, I was literally
kinda hear
thinking,
that.
I was thinking, I've been zimmed. I did, dude. Like when he's like sailing away.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
All right.
so excited.
That's the
to
end of
get
the
to
episode.
end.
All right, we got to the end. See y'all. I do. I think also what's very interesting about this movie is like, so he like is turning his piss. I don't know if this is inaccurate, but what I've heard is like, and like I played Raft a lot, which is a really fun sort of like aquatic survival game. You like use this like glass pane sort of thing to desalinate water, which I remember learning about in science class, like through evaporation. So it's so very interesting to me that that's like not a thing, but it's like, let's have this very intricate contraption to like fucking purify the piss.
Right.
And another thing, also the way he like doesn't like the water is very precious to them.
Yeah.
Like there is that really cool sort of scarcity.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing some desert themes in this aquatic
Absolutely.
film.
Very man versus
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah, the
I
way
was
he like
getting
spits
Dune
the water.
vibes when they were sort of talking about the execution is like recycling.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
of a body. And
Yeah.
then,
Totally,
The
actually, that's a great-
recycling of pee and all of that kind of stuff does show that like scarcity.
Right.
Damn, did Al
Yeah,
Gore
available.
fucking produce this movie? There's so much recycling in it.
I also just have like as a theme sanctity of land when he spits that water into the plant. Yeah, like
Yeah.
what precious water he has, he's using to cultivate a little bit of land, a little bit of life.
And I like how immediately we also have this idea of what his. I love to talk about like the beginnings of movies, setting up our protagonist's skills and what they're able to do.
Yeah.
And it becomes kind of clear that this guy can dive for a pretty long time.
Oh yeah.
Watch out, ladies. This guy can breathe underwater. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we were talking about just like cool kind of procedural stuff. He also has made this like handmade timer that's like using these beads.
Yeah.
And after like all the beads drop, it'll pull him back up. It seems like or something. Just like really cool, like thought out, lived in world building.
Yeah, also just the shot of like the lime tree and like the hands taking it and you're like, what is this like a weird montage? And then you're like, oh no, it's some drifter guy. And they get into it later on, but it seems like this is like a class of person in this world, right? These sort of like lone like adventurers who float around.
Yeah.
And they have like a code of like ethics with how they like deal with one another with like the flag and everything.
Right. I kind of took it as you're either part of the communities or you're a like smoker bandit or you are just like wanderer.
I just want to say up top, I was like, why are they called smokers? And then I was like, oh, they smoke cigarettes.
Oh,
I actually, and I'm sorry for interrupting you there, but I saw it as they were the only faction in the movie using gas.
Oil-based shit.
Oil-based
things, that had like that. I had kind of thought about that, but yeah, I think it's funny how that's just like. It's definitely all of it, right? Like they smoke cigarettes and they use gas.
I thought the main reason is if you think of it from just like a logistics
they
angle.
burn like settlements.
You're seeing them. The first thing you're gonna see if they're coming is the smoke coming up. So it's like.
It's wild how they smoke so many cigarettes that big cloud comes up in front of them.
I know. Remember him sort of floating up to the smoker HQ.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
D's.
But,
I like how Jacob already picked up on the podcast fucking tagline. We'll get to that later. We're putting on a fucking shirt.
Yep. And in terms of another theme, setting up the unknown, the fact that he's coming back with kind of like mysterious artifacts when we see him return. It's like, ooh, what's under the water that he's getting all this from?
Good
what's
setup.
going on?
Good setup. I will say, gotta praise when you praise, and not super disgust. Just kind of like, ooh, what's that? And he's like intrigued.
Yeah, and so when he comes back up, they're speaking a different language.
Yes.
Is this one of the main? Is this isn't Portuguese or is it?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know.
When he in the captions at one point it says that he curses in Hindi.
Oh.
The actor is Israeli.
Interesting.
Or born in Israel, might be Palestinian. I'm not sure. I think his name's Chaim or something, which I think is a Jewish name.
I was gonna say that I watched it with subtitles as well, as I typically do with movies nowadays because I'm getting old. But it says speaking Portuguese.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So even at that
so
early
I think
part,
like
the whole time.
this made up language is kind of a combination of all these Mediterranean.
Yeah, which totally
sort
makes
of-
sense, right?
yeah.
If there are already seafaring nations, like that would make sense that the Mediterranean like way of life would like be some of the strongest surviving factions and stuff.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Nací en el Mediterráneo. That's for all my fucking Surat heads out there, dude. Yeah, it is a cool little piece of like world building that like this sort of like strange language that they're speaking, and just like I did find the beginning very like
Immersive?
engaging. Like
me
you
too.
it really gets the hooks in you.
Yeah, I thought the first act was especially like immersive and engaging and made me want to know more about the world. And then as it progressed, it became more of just kind of like a typical action movie with like, some like unique tropes to it, I guess. But yeah.
It's pretty well that like I like their like sort of like negotiation, and it's very sort of like coy. We always like a good like sort of like clever back and forth in movies.
Well, just from like the jump, like this is kind of the first time we're really seeing into his he doesn't trust people. I've seen your boat before, haven't seen you. That's what like also shows that he's like pretty clever. He remembers little details like that. He remembers everyone he's ran into before.
Yeah, he obviously does not like dealing with people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing free in Waterworld.
He does say that nothing's free in Waterworld. It's fucked up. Well, and like in the end, it wasn't free because he stole his fucking limes.
Yep.
And then he motherfucker desails this fool.
Yep.
That was wild, dude. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
Mariner's fucking brutal.
Escaping fucking jet skis, right?
Yeah.
I mean, on a sailboat.
Yeah,
So we instantly kind of get this sense of, wow, this not only is this guy a really good sailor, mariner, but he's got a fast boat.
He's got a badass rig.
He's got like
None
the
of
fastest boat in the fucking sea, dude.
Yeah.
That
It's so
we
sick,
know
dude.
of, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
for sure.
sick. I fucking
and
love his
is it the
boat.
double sails? Do you think that's doing that for him, or like what is it?
Dude,
about
whoa,
it?
and
Is
then
it
he
how
busts
light
out
it
the
is?
fucking kite later. I think it is how light it is combined with the sails and his sort of like mastery
Know-how.
of the vessel, right?
Yeah, very
like
cool.
it's like an extension of him, dude.
Yeah, it's his most like important thing to him in his life. Like he loves this boat more than any person at this point.
All of his things are his most important things. He loves
true.
shit so much. He's such like a little hoarder.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
his material.
He's
possessions,
so
yeah.
fucking protective of his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then we very quickly have him pulling up to the big water fort, which is known as an atoll.
Yeah.
Right. A cool word. I didn't look up like what it meant, but I thought that was interesting.
It's like a type of island, kind of, or a volcanic island, I believe.
Oh.
Here,
Oh,
let me.
And that's a word in English.
It is, yeah. It's here. Let me pull it up because I don't want to.
Pull that shit up. And while you're pulling that shit up, I'm gonna say
It's a ring-shaped reef island or chain of islands formed by coral.
sick.
So there's usually water in the middle of them,
Right.
Right.
That's cool.
Which is what I thought was cool, because when you get into the atoll, it's like a big gated sort
Yeah.
of ring.
Well, yeah, I
right,
was
around
wondering what's up with the tree, right? Because they don't have nobody. There's no land anywhere, so I was trying to figure out like how did they set up this this kind of soil structure. So it's like a coral-based island.
They've been
basically?
collecting this dirt, bro.
Well, I think
Yeah.
everything is man-made
Right.
that we see
Yeah.
in the
So
beginning.
it's just like a
I mean,
floating little
like,
island.
you're like literally look out the window, dude. There's like fucking trees right there on that cement.
That's crazy, dude.
It is pretty crazy, dude. The movie literally does that at one point. It turns to you and it goes, "Isn't this crazy, bro?" I'm gonna point it out later. But I also want to say, I'm just like, "Oh, what's in the fucking jar?" And then he shows him he's got dirt.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
want to say, just plug another great local band, Dirt.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's some of the world building stuff I really love. Yeah, just like
Yeah.
what is valuable in this world, like the fact that they're all so fascinated. Where did he get dirt from? They
Yeah.
all gather
Yeah.
around him when he's like trading with it. They're like this is like the big special event.
His
for them.
dangly
Yeah.
shell
It's
earring.
more valuable than gold in this.
Yeah, I
world,
mean,
you know,
what is
so.
gold worth in this world?
Nothing, dude. Definitely
probably.
no chits. I like the banker, too. The guy's name is Jack Keller. He's this like very classic character actor, and he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be 62 chits," and the guy and Kevin Costner, "I want double that."
Yeah.
Yeah. I took that as like they're trying to rip him off, right?
For sure, everyone's trying to make a buck. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to come out on top, right? Like that's the way it is in Waterworld. That's the scarcity, like resources and everything.
I did have the thought, like, knowing how he got the soil, why does he bother with anything else? I mean, the soil's so valuable, and there's an endless amount you can go grab at any time.
Yeah, it looked kind of like dry though.
Well, I think he dried it out. Yeah.
You think he can dry it out? Waterworld's pretty wet, dude. Does anything ever truly get dry in Waterworld?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe just my humor.
A thing that I thought was pretty funny happens after he gets the chits from the banker. That family walks up to him and is like, "Hey, impregnate our daughter."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
And because he says no, this guy assumes that our mariner drifter is.
Well, he's like, no man
a
could be out
spy.
on sea,
Yeah.
like for that long and not want to fuck,
He's
right?
just like, this guy's a spy, man.
Yeah, and I another small. Sorry to interrupt you, just really quick. The reason he wants him to impregnate his daughter is because there's too much incest happening. and,
Yeah,
like,
they're
starting to
worried
see
about inbreeding.
deformities.
They're like, yeah, we can kind of mix our own, but too much of that is not good.
Yeah, which I love. That's a great little world building thing. That totally makes sense.
It's so fucking silly. That's the reason he ends up getting arrested, and then they see he has gills, which is something that I remembered from this movie very distinctly, but I thought it was revealed so much later on.
I thought it was revealed at the end as well.
Yeah, but no, it's right off the beginning,
yeah.
webbed feet. And
Right.
also, he's wearing ski boots. I think that's what he found is a pair of ski boots when he went diving, and he's wearing those. And before the scene before
Yeah.
that, when he buys the tomato plant,
Yeah.
the guy even says, "Hey, nice boots."
Yeah.
Like, what do you want for him?
Right, Nord,
Right,
who is,
right.
they're setting up, is looking for Enola, who has the
Yeah.
map to dry land on her back.
He's
Wild.
the actual spy, and no
Yeah,
one picks up
nobody
on
picks
that.
on
This
him.
super fucking like
Obviously,
sketchy
yeah.
dude, like it's obviously a smoker.
Like the guy you're
Look,
not gonna let near the elementary school. It's like, no, that guy's fine.
which
Yeah.
we do get sort of a cutaway scene. I can't remember if it was right before or after the banking scene, but he's talking to one of the other henchmen.
The guy who just wants a sip of hydro.
and they're talking about Enola,
Mhm.
the girl and they're talking about
The girl with the
tattoo on
world
her back.
tattoo.
Yeah, totally. I also really liked, just another small attention to detail thing, is that when he first pulls up, he's blinding the kids with what looks like a rear view mirror from a
Yeah.
car, which is another, like, great, they're like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, I'll give one of these to each of you if nothing's gone from my boat when I come back.
Clever guy.
That's a classic. Did
I
that
think-
in San Francisco on tour once.
Did you actually?
This was before the laminate days. Yeah.
Wow.
You offered them rear view mirrors?
You give a guy $20 and say, "Hey, watch the van."
Yeah, for sure. I also want to say when I saw Enola, I was like, why is she so familiar? It's because she's Deb from fucking Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh.
That is wild.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I totally see it now. Crazy.
Yeah, one of those people whose like face like looks exactly the same as like a child
Wow.
and an
Yeah.
adult. But yeah, pretty
Huh.
cool.
That is a cool fact.
Pretty wild. And like, yeah, she must have been so young in this movie. Acts like it too. She won't fucking shut up.
Does anyone know where they filmed the movie at?
I think on the ocean.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, I'm guessing the set, like the town set, is just like something they built in
Yeah.
a studio somewhere in Hollywood. But in terms of being on the water, yeah,
Yeah.
beats me. And there's no way to know this.
No, we could never look it up. Clack, 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 clack. But the whole like mutant thing too, that's so interesting. Like that they know about mutants exist. So then to me, being scientifically minded, I am immediately like, oh, this is like a long time from
Yeah,
now.
that's one of the things they hint at that's very interesting to me. It's just there's not really any sense for sure of how long it's been. But yeah, that's a great point. Like, yeah, obviously if there's mutations, then yeah, maybe we're talking thousands of years. Hard to say.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that they kind of brought evolution as a theme back into it. It's
Yeah.
like, fish crawled onto land,
Right.
eventually turns into human.
Right.
Water consumes the world. Humans go back to the water.
Right.
essentially.
And there's not like a lot of emotional stuff in this movie, but that is kind of the arc of the Mariner is he's a loner, and a lot of that is because he's a mutant. He feels like he's been rejected from society his whole life. But that rejection and feeling like a weirdo is part of what connects him with Enola, and it kind of gives him his character arc of, well, her and I are kind of one and the same in a way.
Yeah.
And he starts relating to people more through his weirdness.
All right. So, filming took place in a large artificial seawater enclosure similar to that used in the film Titanic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
and then
It was in Hawaii, right?
located in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Hawaii. Then the
Wow.
final scene is filmed in the Waipio Valley on the Big Island, also referred to as the Valley of Kings.
Ah.
Additional filming in Los Angeles, Huntington Beach, Santa Catalina Island, and Channel Islands of California. Apparently, before they began filming, Steven Spielberg warned Costner and Reynolds not to film on open water because of his difficulties with Jaws.
Oh, that's so funny.
Which
That is
was
funny.
last week's episode.
Yeah.
This has been Alfredo's Information Corner.
Thank
you, Alfredo.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, again, like more tech stuff so that, yeah, they take him captive, and then we see how the power generator is turned on at night, which is a cool little like sequence of things getting booted up, and you see, the lights getting turned on and all that.
Yeah, I also wondered, on his catamaran, he has like the spinny thing. Is that producing like wind power, like for his boat or something?
Well, I don't know. Does he ever use any electrical stuff?
He does. Yeah, he plugs in a battery at one point.
Oh, well, then it must be. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, I think he uses the battery for power.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember. We'll have to talk about it if we remember when we get there. Yeah, the smoker has his boots as he's leaving, setting up this little rivalry between him because he wanted his boots. He got his boots.
He's got webbed feet, dude.
Gives him a little FU as he's out the door.
Yeah, I like Gregor too, asking these. He's like so fascinated by him. He's like,
Yeah.
"Are they vestigial gills?" I like that shit too. Thinking
Yeah.
like, "Are they useful? Can you breathe underwater?" And he, of course, not answering any fucking questions. He's pissed because there's people on his boat.
Yeah.
The guy stole his fucking boots, and then he like pieces out on a rowboat. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
and I thought I loved Gregor. I mean, he was kind of your classic mad scientist.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and he was a fun character, I thought.
I am not a brave man. He says that's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I like the little like just the interaction between them is really fun because Gregor is a pretty good guy, but he he doesn't have much power in this situation, so he's just trying to be as tactful as he can, but because of that scientist aspect of himself, he's also just like fascinated with them. So he has a goal here, but he's also just like, "Whoa, you're a mutant." Like that's so cool. Good stuff.
Yeah, did you know this movie was supposed to be 3 hours long?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I just say thank you to whoever decided to make it 2 hours and 15 minutes?
That's the thing is I feel like if some things were fleshed out some more, I think this could be a stronger movie. I could see a better version of Waterworld that is 3 hours long.
Yeah, there was a lot of tension between the Kevins. The Kevins being the director Kevin Reynolds and Kevin Costner. I haven't shouted out crew like I usually do at the top of this, and I'll just say right now, there's a reason.
Hey, I will say it's not the highest tier cinematography by any means, but there is some good stuff. I really liked when the transition of his the kind of his opening action sequence to getting to the town, the cool shots of the ship against the setting sun and all that, and throughout the movie there's some stuff that's that looks nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that the movie really shines in the first part, right? Where up until his capture, I'm all this stuff, all this world building. I love all this. I think it's all necessary. It's perfect. I think
It all
it's a great
feels
way to set it
shiny
up.
too, it's
Yeah.
not actually shiny, but new,
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah.
you're being introduced to it. I do think, speaking of beautiful shots, there is this very nice shot of the horizon and danger slowly approaching, the fucking smokers, right? I thought that was really cool, sort of visuals that are used there. And I love how they're coming from where the sun is too, straight out of the sun with all the smoke.
Yeah.
Something very badass about that.
Totally. Oh yeah, we also didn't mention that we do see Enola drawing a horse, and nobody knows what a horse is.
Yeah.
Which is why people think she's a freak, is because she is drawing. She seems to have knowledge of something that nobody understands, and
Yeah.
they think it's kind of terrifying.
Which also sort of introduces us to the fact that everyone is desperate to find dry land.
Yeah.
You know, it's this fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
most of them don't believe in it, which I
Yeah.
love. It's just
Yeah.
this myth,
It's a mythical place.
yeah, it's almost
right?
like a childhood story you would tell to
Yeah.
give your kids comfort.
And it's Dean Semler. That's the director of photography.
Cool.
Just to give him credit where credit's due. And then Peter Boyle is the film editor. God bless Peter Boyle. Cut that shit.
Yeah, he's sentenced to recycling, which
Love
is
it.
really cool.
Love it.
I don't exactly understand how the recycling works. Do you guys get
No,
what's
and
going on
I
here?
thought it was kind of funny because I was
You're not supposed to,
You're
bro.
expecting a pit of acid or something,
Right.
right? And it's just mud.
So I think the idea
You
is
know?
that his nutrients will feed into the roots of the
Yes,
tree.
Yeah.
yes.
But
sure.
how that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't exactly get it.
It
but
felt
is
very
cool.
religious. It did not
Yeah,
feel
well,
like
they're telling it like a prayer
It doesn't
while they're
feel like
lowering
a
him.
scientific procedure.
Yeah.
And I think it should be taken as thus.
Totally. Oh, and we didn't mention the chief. I forget his name. I don't know. He does get a name in the movie. I forget what it is. He's kind of he's the one who's when they capture him, he's like, "You hired me to stop violence in this
Yeah.
town, and this ain't it." Or
I
something
love
like
that guy,
Yeah, he's
sheriff of
awesome,
the
yeah.
town or whatever.
Yeah, he's cool.
And you're like, oh, cool. He's stepping in to save our protagonist.
Right.
And then
Not
you know,
really.
not really. He's just like, yeah, we're just gonna postpone this
Yeah.
till tomorrow.
I mean, he does
and,
defend him, right?
Yeah.
He's like, he's like, he killed one of our own. He was defending himself. Like,
Yeah.
But
I thought that was
but I
funny.
think the reason he doesn't really step in is because he does see mutants as a threat. So whatever, and I kind of wish we saw more mutants. We only get the one, right?
Yeah. We don't really get a sense for, like, obviously they're common enough for people to have a word for it, you know.
Yeah,
in this...
and they're scared of him. I'd like to know if it's just because they're so weird that they're scared of him. It would make sense, right? I mean, the world is already so racist without being underwater.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his name it looks like it's just like Enforcer. Potentially.
Oh, really? He doesn't get a name. That's surprising.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, he shows up
uh,
again at the end, right? Like he's one of
around.
the survivors of the
It's
town.
probably so Death can't find him.
Yeah. So Death can't find him exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it's cool that he goes with them later on to like fucking
Totally.
with the and speaking of him showing up later on, the whole fucking business, because there's the chaos just utterly like erupts when the fucking smokers attack, but the whole business with Gregor and his like hot air balloon, and he starts it too early. Yeah. And he's like, no, come. And she's like, sorry.
Sorry, it was an accident. I'm sorry.
And
he
then
like tries to throw the rope, and it just like doesn't go down at all.
And then later on, he has this long ass rope that he throws to them, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty goofy that he can find them at all later, but there's a lot of convenient stuff.
No. It's good that they set their boat on fire because he would have never found them.
Yeah, you can totally find it in the ocean, just the smoke.
All the fucking friendly fire is like these guys are fucking morons. Like the smokers are like one of the worst outfits I have ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah, they're pretty belligerent. I think I get the sense that life is just so cheap in this world because life is resources.
Right. It really reminds me. It kind of goes back to the Mad Max theme there with the guys that like huff paint and shit.
Oh
like,
yeah.
These people are maniacs. You know what I mean? But I love that they ride rusted jet skis.
Yes.
You know, and like
so cool.
they have those scenes where they're like underwater waiting to spring a trap in a jet ski.
Yes, they're weighted down. That's
the
so
diving,
sick.
like fucking, is that like a ski-doo, right? Is that what that's called?
Yes,
they like fucking like dive. That's fucking, and they like dolphin like pop up.
Yeah, well, the fact that they have boats that are ramps, and then they use a plane that they have the people on the skis, the water skis on, and then they use the plane to take them up the ramp so they can dive into the town.
I was blown.
That's so fucking sick.
This movie is very much like, okay, how do we set up a Rube Goldberg machine of ridiculous shit to like just go off?
I love that shit. Though.
I think
so
it's
fun.
good. Dennis Hopper too. He hates sales. He says that,
I love
and I realize
him.
all their shit is like gas powered. You know,
I'm a big Dennis Hopper fan, man. So as soon as he showed up,
I do like how he I like how he loses his eye in this scene.
Oh yeah.
I think it's fun that he doesn't just have like an eye patch from the beginning. Like we see him
get the
like
eye patch.
look more like turn to look more evil essentially.
Right. And it sets up his rivalry with the Mariner, right? Like, you're the reason I don't have an eye, which is a sweet sequence as well of him. First of all, I really like the gunner setup. Again, like really great stuff where they show that the shells are coming out and the guys behind him are shoveling the shells to reuse later and all that.
Yeah.
And just, how lived in the whole setup looks here. That guy is, like you were saying, is an idiot though. Like, you don't notice you're being spun around somehow. Like, what do you mean?
You don't even notice who you're firing on.
Yeah.
I love the whole sequence of what's that cousin's name, and he's like Chuck, and he's like maybe he doesn't answer to Chuck, so he starts calling out Charles. This guy, Dennis Hopper, is not in this movie. He is like, the movie exists and he is outside of it. Like, that's how it felt the whole fucking time. Every time I saw him,
he is he's such a goofy villain. We were talking about this, Jacob and I, a little bit before we started recording too, of just like how he's menacing, but he's also just like the comic relief. Like
he is that. Yeah, absolutely.
I felt kind of confused sometimes when he was on the screen.
Yeah, a lot of conflicting emotions with him. I mean, he is fun. He really is just eating it up, though.
He's chaotic evil, right? You never know what he's gonna do. There's a part, we'll get to it, but they have the oil thing open on their tanker,
right? And he flicks the match
over it. Like, he just very willing to.
He's keeping them on their toes. He's testing them,
but also, like, there was a small chance there that he just dies.
Yeah,
and he's
but
fine
then
with that,
you see when the guy, like, when the oil supply is threatened, he does So, if anyone's going to blow it up, it's going to be me. Speaking of setting up people's abilities, the way I love the shot of the mariner swimming.
Yeah.
And then he fucking
jumps
dolphin
out
leaps.
like a dolphin.
Yeah. Onto the fucking, and I'm like, holy shit. What do you even need a boat for, dude?
That's pretty rad.
I mean, at this point, I thought that the stunts were insane.
Oh, yeah.
They're jumping the wall with the jet skis. They are water skiing behind a seaplane.
Yeah.
There's explosions everywhere.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I think that, so the woman, Helen, who we find out later, and Enola end up saving the mariner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think it's right after that happens, they send in a kamikaze boat to blow the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so you're just getting these like crazy explosions,
Yeah.
these flying water skis, like
Yeah.
everything's rusty.
I love that the town is using just the ocean water to like through hoses.
It's
as their defense.
it's so fucking funny. They're just so fucking poor. They
Yeah.
can't afford guns or
any
anything.
weapons.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it's
And,
like
I mean, at this point as a viewer, I was wondering like where are they getting gunpowder and bullets from? Where
Yeah.
they get? Why do they have gas? Which
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
kind of explain a little bit at some point. But that was one of the parts where I felt like, oh, this is a little lazy. I feel like they could have done.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
totally.
Like
explained it
oil.
more,
I
yeah.
think even when this movie was made, like there was oil rigs on the ocean, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like
yeah.
they could have even just been as simple as to do
Maybe
something
their
like
base
that, but-
is just like on an oil rig,
right, and it ends up being an oil tanker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's running. It's like they had one oil tanker full of oil,
Well,
and
so
it's
the way
4.5
I take
feet,
it
buddy.
is
Yeah.
that, like we said, we have no idea how long this has been going on. This stuff could have been grandfathered in like hundreds of years of collecting stuff for all we
Yeah.
know.
St. Joe, dude.
Yeah.
There's just some random captain's picture who they call
Worship
St.
guy.
Joe. Yeah.
He was the captain of this oil tanker.
Love
Yeah.
that, man.
Okay.
We do get the interrogation about Enola as well after they sort of make their escape, where like they're the two people, right? And he says, "You said he kills the first guy. It's like, your chance. Like you tell me something." And then he's like, goes to like shoot him. And he said, "You said you wouldn't kill me." And he's like, "Oh, did I? Oh man, I might have." So he just hands the gun to the other guy and
Yeah,
just
I
immediately
love that.
kills him.
Yeah, he's like hitting himself. He's like, "Did I say that? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I might have."
Yeah, his eye looks fucked up too, dude.
Yeah. I love when he
Yeah.
gets the new eyes. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
This is also kind of where we get a sense for just how capable this dude is.
Oh yeah, the mariner,
Right,
or
he-
or
Yeah, the mariner.
Okay.
When they escape
yeah,
from the smokers in this scene, and escape the town, he's doing acrobatics.
Yeah.
He's
oh yeah.
he's
I mean,
kind of a one-man
swashbuckler
army.
hours, like it feels very like Errol Flynn swashbuckler, like cut the chandelier rope
yeah,
to
Yeah.
fucking
lot
swing
of
on
that.
the rope,
A lot of swinging
Yeah.
on ropes. And yeah, he saves the chief of the town. I forget what he throws at the guy above him. He throws like a knife or a harpoon at him.
Yeah,
or
I don't
something.
think
Yeah,
he's
like a
the
s-
chief.
a
I think he's
spear.
like literally like
Like the
the head of
sheriff.
security.
Yeah. Because they talk about the elders. There's the town elders. And
Yeah,
I
the
think he-
elders I think are like there's the dudes who like sort of come with the girl when the family's like offering
Yeah.
her to him.
Right.
We want your seed. Fuck, dude. That's what it is. So this movie does not pull any punches.
No.
Like they were
No.
like somebody said something and they're like, yes. So and like it's just like anytime somebody's yes. Yes, we're doing that.
I like also just super cheesy but fun after Deacon kills the guy and he has the eye patch on and he's like, "We're gonna have to keep an eye out," and he reveals his eye.
Oh my god. That every line that he had in the movie was just like, what is what?
I love it though. I mean, that's what they're going for, right? Camp.
I want to bring it up at this point too because I saw this when I was looking about like where Waterworld was shot. Somebody asked the question on IMDb. They're like, when he's getting the replacement eye, Deacon, he says, "This better not mess with my short game." What does he mean?
Yeah, I was thinking about
Oh,
that
it's
too.
golf. Yeah, he's talking about golf, which is so silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because where?
Like
why
again,
would
he's
he-
not in this movie.
Land
Dude.
doesn't exist.
Hey, they
Golf is no longer a
They
thing.
could have mini putt.
No, they totally can. He's just not in this movie.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
I like the fucking, we get the conversation about dry land, like going more in depth about it. The mariner lies and says he's been to dry land.
Yeah, you're talking about when now they've escaped. They're on the boat, and Helen and him are kind of discussing the logistics of what they're going to do
basically
next.
he's gonna kill Enola because she's taking up too many resources.
Well,
Doesn't
he
make
also
sense.
says
You would
that
kill
his-
you would kill the adult woman because she would take up more food and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense, but yet it's the first thing that it's his first thought as soon as they hit open water.
Well, he has reason to it. I don't know if
Also,
they fully sell it.
This is the other thing. She weighs more. She's bigger. And he's talking about how the weight is because there's holes in the boat, and the weight is slowing them down from escaping as well.
Well, it sounded like the main thing he was worried about is not enough water or food. I'm not sure.
But there's more piss now.
Yeah. Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, go piss, girl.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, there's diminishing returns on piss. So
I get what they're trying to do, but like you said, they just don't really sell it to you.
Sure.
It just makes it so I
agree.
feel like from this point, I really don't like Kevin Costner's character at all.
He's a jerk.
He's got no moral compass.
He's not even like a fun jerk.
Yeah,
No.
I'm with you. I mean, they're going for they're going for the jaded Clint Eastwood vibe of just like this guy is a bad dude, and we're gonna slightly warm up his heart by the end of the movie.
Clint
That's
Eastwood,
the arc.
Clint Eastwood sells it
Yeah.
a lot more than Kevin Costner can.
It's funny because he instantly decides, all right, we're gonna throw Enola overboard.
Yeah.
But then within 5 minutes, he's changed his mind. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
not
I did
only
think that was
like
weird, yeah.
it's like they don't give you him the character enough time to develop really.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. That's what I'm saying.
and-
Another 45 minutes on this
I think
puppy?
that-
You
I
could-
think they
you could
really-
flesh it out.
I'd be there for it.
I
but-
think they just let their approach to him as a character is like strong, silent type, but like let's not really like think about it too much more than he's like a mutant and he doesn't fit in. Like there's not like
Yeah.
a lot of like dude, ironically enough, not a lot of depth to him.
Wow.
Yeah, that resonates with me because when I'm watching this, it's just like they took the archetype for the loner, the drifter,
Yeah.
and they just like they wrote it right out for you. Like
Yeah.
they didn't give me any way to interpret.
I
this
think
dude.
I think the thing about Clint Eastwood is that like he's good at that nuanced sort of like tortured sort of like inside thing, right? Like whereas Kevin Costner's like, I'm gonna kill her. And it's like, no, don't do that. I'm gonna kill you too. No, don't do that. I'm gonna offer my body to you. Okay. Like he's just very like flat, Like,
Yeah, but they develop him. I think I mostly agree with you. I think they flesh him out just a little bit. Like the fact that she offers herself to him, and like there's some like good visual storytelling of him kind of being like into it, and then like reading that she's not into it, and then he pulls away from it and all that. Like so you can see like there's layers to him, but it's like kind of just the archetypical stuff, not
for
super
sure.
fleshed out.
And, and I appreciate that too as well. Also, like throughout the movie, I was like, has this guy like, is he a virgin? Like he very well might be.
yeah, it's possible. Here's my thing though. It's like you know what you're supposed to feel because you're being force fed it, right? But you're supposed to be like, oh, he's a noble dude. But he's not because he's the one, he's only saving Enola from himself.
I think you hit the nail on the head because there is this like this whole like you can't have it both ways thing. Like I get you want to make him cruel but principled, but like
I think there's better ways to do it.
It's a delicate line to walk.
Right.
I think it comes
because
down
why
to-
is he, obviously he needs to escape, but why doesn't he just leave them right off the bat if he's just going to throw Enola off the boat?
That's the
You know
thing
what
is I
mean?
think what would sell it, like you were saying, is if they really like made you feel the resource tightness in that by deciding to keep them, he really is putting all of them in way more danger, which he is, but he doesn't know, right? Because the smokers
Right.
are coming after them. So like, he is putting himself in a lot of
Right.
danger, but he doesn't know the smokers
At
are
this
coming
point,
after
they
him.
don't know the smokers are after Enola.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if you were to really emphasize, this is a harsh, brutal world, and this guy's chance of survivals have just dropped like 90% by having these two people with him, and then he has to decide to let them live because he's a good hero. Like that is what they're trying to do. It's just they don't sell that it's that desperate of a situation.
For sure. And I think we're all aware of that. Like it just, and then I think there's things that undermine it, right? Like then like he catches a huge fish, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, within like 20 seconds too.
Yeah, she's like so stressed out. And he's like, oh yeah, whatever.
But
I don't really
care. You didn't even mention that he uses himself as bait, for like,
which I think is kind of awesome. Man.
It is dope.
He just rolls himself off the fucking back of the boat.
And I think he lets himself
scene,
get grabbed and then shoots it from the within to kill it, which is really cool. But
and there's just like vague images of like the harpoon going through like the fish and shit.
Yeah.
Because obviously they didn't have the money to fucking shoot that. Because that fish looked like it was CGI.
It was pretty bad CGI. There's some pretty bad CGI throughout the movie.
Yeah. Going back onto the sort of track, like she offers herself he drops the sail on her when she like threatens to kill him, and then he fucking smacks the shit out of
Jack
her.
Sparrow, by the way. Like pretty much the exact same kind of thing happens with Jack and Will Turner when they first escape together, where he hits them with the
with the wooden part.
Right.
This dude straight up just drops the whole sail on her.
Right. Yeah, but just in terms of showing his mastery over his boat.
Oh, for sure. There's even a part where, without looking, the thing is swinging behind him, and he like bends over.
Right.
Like he anticipates that.
His mutant senses tingling.
No, like I said, it's an extension of him.
Yeah.
It's his favorite toy in the world.
He knows the boat so
He
well.
loves his things.
But then he doesn't do anything with Helen other than drop the sail on her. But he also
he does hit her with the oar.
He does.
Oh, right.
He smacks
But
the shit
then
out
he
of her.
just decides not to kill the child.
Yeah.
That
was
it's
weird.
like it just gets dropped. It doesn't come back up really.
I was thinking I might have missed something, but it sounds like you
Nope.
guys did. Yeah, they don't really explain why he changes his mind.
Yeah.
He just decides
and
not to.
that part just doesn't really work for me. I feel like
I'm with you.
But and then we're moving on. Deacon gets his sexy.
Yeah, we got the new eye, and
right?
Looks like shit.
better not ruin my short game.
They do show the source of the oil, and there's just some old guy on a boat.
Why is that guy
lives
down there, man?
I love that. He just has like a stick
I
to
do
like a
love
yardstick.
this guy. I love that he's down there, but why is he? Why
He's
is this
so
necessary?
happy when he dies.
Oh my god! Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Thank God.
Yeah.
oh, thank God.
This is also where we figure out her name is Enola.
Yeah.
The child's name. And we can tell that the drifter, the mariner, he's not happy to have company on his boat. He doesn't really like people.
Yeah. Is this when she's drawing on the boat?
Yeah, and he because of that,
She's scribbling everywhere.
yeah, she's scribbling everywhere with his crayons too, which he's very protective of, and so he chucks her in the water.
I know, that's so wild, dude. He just fucking tosses her in the fucking water. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Enola's hair, I immediately thought of when you're in like junior high and like the popular rich girl comes back from spring break in Mexico, and she's got her hair in just like little braids, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Oh my god.
That's
Like
funny.
almost like cornrows sometimes,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Felt very much like that.
Totally. And I do want to say before this scene, we also get like a little tour of the smokers' hideout. We don't see what they're really inside of yet, but it's like fun to see that. Like, I just really enjoyed all the set locations, and yeah, it's fun to see. Like, they have a car.
Yes, but they're low on oil, but they're gonna drive this car.
Yeah. Well, he has to keep up with appearances.
Yeah, of
That's
course,
very Deacon
obviously.
of him.
Yeah, it is very Deacon of him for sure. I do love that they have a car. It's fucking funny.
It is.
Yeah.
And he's always throwing food out to everyone.
Spam, yeah.
Yeah, this is another one.
It
of
was
those
called
things.
Smeat. And I would just like to point that out because I thought it was so funny.
That is. Yeah, I it's one of those things I wish they had more time to flesh out, is like the whole spiritual aspect of this world, and that he does Deacon sets himself up as like a religious spiritual leader.
Yeah, I mean, his name is literally Deacon.
Yeah, he's like a cult leader.
Yeah, I love it.
Essentially.
Yeah, it's
And
good
it
stuff.
would have been nice to get more of that.
He also has like the kids hooked on cigarettes as well. You know, like
Yeah.
it's a good shit. you
Yeah,
know?
to
Not
your
kids smoking, but like the
lore,
to set him
yeah.
up as like a bad guy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And to your point, Jacob, it does look like these are like filtered cigarettes.
Yeah.
Where are they getting these cigarettes? Where are they getting the tobacco? Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make sense, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yep. Yeah, tobacco. You know, which is like actually like a plant that grows on land.
Right.
Actually, marshy land, though.
And, all the canned food, if this is hundreds or thousands of years later, like, I don't think canned food lasts forever, right? Or does it? Like, it maybe depends on the food.
I mean, Smeat does.
Fair enough.
God,
As far as we
Smeat.
know.
Oh
it
my
does,
God,
yeah.
that's gross. I do also, I feel like back with the Mariner and Helen and everything, there's just like not a lot of good communication going on because he doesn't talk, he just like does shit, and that's what leads to the whole, because like he throws her off the boat and like and then he has to go pick them up because she like jumps in, and like it looks like he's gonna leave them for a second, then he like turns around and he comes back to like get them, and then like their whole interactions, like, she's like, oh, thank you so much, but also fuck you, if you ever touch her again I will fucking kill you. And then the
Yeah.
plane comes and we have like Jack Black, right? And then again, a lack of clear communication, which
Yeah.
is essential to any relationship,
Yeah.
is what causes all of the fucking hijinks with the mast,
Yeah. Which,
Yes.
I mean, makes sense. This is not a people person. He doesn't know how to communicate with
No,
people.
he's actually a fish person.
I really wish that I had done
Ichthys
this
sapien.
from the beginning, though, knowing I was going into it. But I wonder how many harpoon kills we have in this movie.
Harpoon counter would be fun. Yeah.
Because it seems like this is his weapon of choice.
Yeah.
Typically, is the harpoon.
He is the Mariner.
Oh, and to go back just a little bit, this plane does show up, but Enola can't swim, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Because we're in Waterworld, like swimming
think
would
that-
be like reading, right? In
I
our
think that's
society.
the idea, is that she's from dry land, for whatever reason, scared of the water because of that, I guess.
Yeah, it's also very interesting because, like, thinking about how old she is and at what age we form memories, right? Like, she must have appeared like 2-3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like something like
And we
that,
never
right?
find out why. We never found out why she's no longer on dry land, like how she got taken away from that place or ended up far away.
Well, it seems like they sent her out adrift in some dirt.
Which is fucking weird.
They tattooed her back because they knew they were dying.
Oh, so they're trying to get someone to take care of her? I guess so, right?
Yeah, I don't know how. Okay,
What are your chances of
Well, when
surviving
we
that
get
way?
there,
Not
I
good.
had some
Food.
thoughts on all of that when we get kind of to that final scene.
you're right. Let's get back. Let's
But-
get back on fucking track, dude.
Attacked by a plane.
They get attacked by the fucking.
Jack
plane. I
Black.
love the way that she fucking impales the dude.
Yeah, the gunner.
Yeah, dude. I've been telling so many people, I'm like, oh yeah, Jack Black's in that movie, and everyone's like, what? Really?
Yeah, well, so you had told me that before we watched it,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, really? I was one of those people. And then I watched it, and I'd forgotten. And then it wasn't until I came over for this recording that I looked it up, and I was like, oh, he was the fucking plane pilot?
Yeah,
Okay.
I immediately noticed him.
I did not notice him.
Yeah,
at
his
all.
voice is just like,
I
embedded in my head.
can't believe I didn't, especially since you told
Yeah.
me, but I love that. He
Yeah.
has a funny role. I love when he's trying to shoot the harpoon
Yeah,
rope
he's trying
with
to
the gun.
shoot the fucking cord out. That's fucking.
This is
funny.
a really fun.
Sequence?
Sequence.
Yeah.
This part, Fredo. Do you want to explain to us what happens to this airplane?
The
that's coming
Rube
at them?
Goldberg of the airplane.
Yeah.
You mean how? Okay, so like he's going down below decks because he's gonna handle this. She's like, oh, he abandoned us, so I'm gonna take the harpoon with the fucking like cord on it, and I'm gonna shoot it through the fucking plane. And she fucking bullseyes this fool, right? Fucking gets the harpoon all the way through the fucking plane with the gunner on it, and then because it's attached to the boat, the plane starts moving and like moving the boat and like turning it, and because it's like stuck to one place, it starts going in a circle. Then it rips out of the fucking front, or I believe the stern of the boat, and it gets caught up in the fucking crow's nest and the sails, and it's just like spinning
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
and the boat is like rocking. It is a Rube Goldberg of chaos, and one that I appreciate.
Yeah,
It's
I
fucking
thought it was
fun.
very
yeah.
fun, yeah.
It was super fun, and my whole thought was like, wouldn't the harpoon just kind of rip out of the boat? And
Yeah, for sure.
But I loved that the airplane was stuck to the boat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
rather
But
than
also,
or
like-
the boat getting pulled through the water.
Right. Wouldn't
You know?
like I also like maybe depending on like how strong the wind is, like it's actually just the plane getting pulled by the boat like behind it,
Yeah.
But in the end, it's much more fun for it to go in circles, you know?
Totally. And speaking of things that don't quite make sense, we haven't pointed out yet just how like everything that crashes in this movie fucking has the classic just massive explosion.
I do love that he gets away though, you know, like that he ultimately like the cord gets shot off.
Yeah.
And he gets away, and
this sets up one of the dumbest things in the movie, perhaps, which is that he returns back, lets them know of their like location and trajectory, and that they have the girl, and then they're like, oh well, he's gonna change course now, and Deacon's like, no, he's a wily guy who and because he knows we think he's gonna change course, that means he's gonna go in the same direction, and he's right.
he assumes that he's being reverse psychology.
He's not in this movie. He's watching this movie and commenting on it. Also, he forcefully cuts both of their hair too at the end of that to like teach them a lesson, furthering my dislike of him and just like overall like this guy fucking sucks. I do feel like I feel like he could have been written better. You know, they did what they did and whatever, and it's silly and shit.
Yeah,
but like
it almost feels like they're trying to make him unlikable, right? Because I feel like you're like Helen and Enola are more of the heart of the story.
Yeah,
and so it's almost like you're seeing him through their perspective.
It just feels like too far, you know. Like I get that this is a very scarce post-apocalyptic world, but like we as the audience don't live in that world, you know. Like we need some sort of connection in that way.
Yeah, and I feel like again, like if this was a novel or a like mini series or something that had more time to flesh this out, I think this kind of really this guy is a piece of shit arc to hero could be done very well, but it's just like it's not given enough time and it's not so focused on enough. Like if you cut out some of the action stuff to give you some more character fleshing out stuff, I feel like it would work better.
This is a thing where you sacrifice believability and like because you're already doing not a great job of being like, you know, logically consistent with everything, so like why don't you just fucking like use some like shorthand and like make this guy like a little bit more likable and like, oh man, would he really be that nice to people if he's just like a drifter? Who the fuck cares? At least like
he's supposed to be this noble like hero type, right? And
kind of.
Or at least he's a one-man army, we know for sure.
Yeah, he's a one-man army, dude.
But I mean, like you're just like, why is he such an asshole? Like a lot of it's unnecessary, and because it's so rushed, I mean. Literally my least favorite part of the movie is next, right?
Oh, where they find the crazy dude.
They run into the crazy drifter guy.
I do want to say, like, right before that, though, that we do have a scene with the Deacon where, and he refers to him as an ichthyodemon, which ichthys is the scientific name for fish, which comes from Greek, right? And the word ichthys is often used in relation to the, like, Jesus fish. So I did have the messianic sort of connection.
Interesting. And so the fact that you point out that it's this Greek term, again, like Poseidon also comes up later. So it's like, it really does feel like a lot of the world is based off Portugal and like Greek mythology and culture and stuff, which is just like, an interesting twist.
I don't know, they're smoking cigarettes. That's as American as you can get, man. But yeah, the drifter scene is very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Yep. I want to point out, this is Kim Coates, who is one of the guys, he plays Tig on Sons of Anarchy. I like recognized him instantly. And I wanted to see where he was from because of the accent he's doing, which is this like Irish accent that feels like it like took a layover in Jamaica or something. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I was like mixed watching his performance here. I'm like, it's kind of too much, but also it's kind of like entertaining, I guess. Like it's just so crazy and weird that I'm like, I kind of buy that this guy's totally lost his mind.
This is the point where like all of my like I don't care if the Mariner lives or dies after this, because like
he sells her or he trades her for paper.
Yeah, he's fucking pimping her out for some Nat Geos. What the fuck?
And again, this is where the whole problem of the, like I was mentioning, well, he could just get soil and trade that for anything. But maybe, so it's like, is paper more valuable than dirt? Maybe, but like, you know, you can get an endless amount of dirt. So he really shouldn't be that worried about like his trading economics.
Right.
So the fact that makes it just so much worse that he's like, well, that's kind of cool. Oh yeah, I'll trade you 30 minutes with her.
Yeah, like, even worse though, he like, I'm supposed to think you're a good dude because the crazy drifter wanted Enola, the child.
Oh wow!
And this dude is a pedophile. Yeah. Like,
great compromise.
So that's I don't know. So
but he changes his mind.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
I love him.
What a great guy.
I love him
noble.
so much. He's such a the man we know is my best friend.
Well, yeah, but that's not what they're going for, right? He's not supposed to be likable. This is an unlikable move.
No, but I think like you have to be careful when your
Yeah.
protagonist is unlikable. Like
Yeah.
you have to.
I'm with you.
You like this is, and I'm gonna say it, dude. As we often say on this podcast, the nitpick is the fun is the enemy of the nitpick.
Yeah.
And the thing is that he's not fun.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
like even when he throws her in the water, and maybe it's just like times have changed. And back in '95, like 30 years ago, people were like, he threw her in the water and then he cut her hair. This guy rules, man.
I see. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I don't think
that's-
so either. Totally.
No, but
like,
no, but I don't think that's like what they're going for. I think they are going for he's supposed to be unlikable, but you see that there's a bit of humanity in him, and you're rooting for that bit of humanity. That's what they want. It's just
Yeah.
like we've said, they
Yeah.
haven't
It
said
But
just
it.
like,
doesn't work for me.
let's think about other unlikable characters, right? Like, okay, so we have fucking, oh my god, his name escapes me, but from No Country for Old Men, Llewellyn, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's a dick,
Yeah.
but he's like
Yeah.
a fun dick, right? Like, there's different ways to sort of like approach this, like,
Right.
he's like not even like, he's not like fucking Jack Sparrow is a fucking dick, but again, fun different kind of dick.
Yeah, he never does
for sure.
anything super awful.
I-
But neither does Llewellyn.
yeah.
That's the difference here. Is this guy's doing super awful stuff, and they just don't do enough character building to make that pay off in a
I
very
mean, Llewellyn
satisfying.
almost lets a guy die of like thirst, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, it was also like a cartel fight.
When he
like-
takes a random $2 million, this guy's wild, dude.
yeah,
But I mean, I just feel like it's not like it. There needs to be more sort of thought put into it.
Yeah.
Into it.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
just
my main point is that I don't think they're trying to make this guy look cool when he's doing really horrible things like selling her. Like
Right.
they're not the audience is not supposed to be rooting for him when he does shit like that.
No, I know for sure, and I think it's just like there needs to be a
no,
little
but
bit
it's
more.
like what makes him change his mind? It's not believable.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
that's-
an
yeah.
even better point, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not so much like how he's being portrayed. It's like the like fucking fulcrum point.
He's
Like,
so
don't
wishy-washy
click.
for
Yeah.
such a like concrete, like stubborn guy.
Yeah.
He changes his mind an awful lot.
I didn't know the Mariner ran for office for ran for. Sorry, let me tell you one more time. I didn't know the Mariner ran as the Democratic presidential candidate in 2004 because this motherfucker is more of a flip flopper than John Kerry himself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think he's a very underdeveloped protagonist.
and there's better ways to show that he's an asshole than him selling the woman, you know what I mean? But again, is it part of this post-apocalyptic, are we just supposed to accept it for being this post-apocalyptic
I think Connor's made a good
situation?
point, which is like if this was like episode 3 or 4 of like a mini series,
Yeah.
like, and you give it like, because there is like some weight given to it in the movie. I think you just like be very intentional about giving it that weight and like that moment. You've like set up a lot of like the resource, like a lot of like survival, like, and it's more believable because you're more immersed in the world.
yeah. Yeah, because I don't like it's not like he is realistic to this world in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just that he's not a good protagonist because he's not fleshed out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think Kevin Costner does it any favors either.
Yeah, he's not fished out, you know.
But,
Oh, also, this guy Kevin Reynolds. This is the guy who directed Prince of Thieves, the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, the one that
Oh.
Kevin
Oh,
Costner
okay.
was in, where he does that awesome English accent.
So wait, are you gonna tell us? Is there some sort of drama between them or something?
Oh yeah, he like the director walked off in like the middle of filming this, and Kevin Costner had to like take over directing.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Oh my
Okay, well
gosh.
maybe that explains why
That's wild.
some things aren't
Yeah,
hashed
apparently-
out so well.
I did read that it originally had a budget of 100 million and that bloated to about 170 million. So
175 I saw too.
Which makes it up to that point the most expensive movie made.
Yeah,
pretty wild.
It was the Avatar of its time, you could say.
Yeah,
and this is
dude.
after Terminator 2, which was the most expensive movie of all time. I think.
speaking of Avatar, Way of Water, Pyacon, the whale. After the whole sort of drifter kerfuffle, let's call it.
Yeah, they fight under the boat. One note about that. I've always, even as a kid, I was always confused by the wound that kills him.
Yeah, no, it's not obvious. It's
because it looks like there's just like a streak of blood on his back.
Yeah.
But there's no like wound that would kill him that is apparent.
Right. It is cool, the like sort of framing of him popping up first.
You're right. Oh, he won. His knife is bloody. Yeah.
And then you see that, oh shit, okay, he's actually fucked up. And then like she like when he's dead, she's like kind of like freaking out. She's like I'll say this in my mind too. Once he was dead, I was like, oh, now they have some food, I don't know why, dude. It's always like cannibalism is just
You always
like,
go to the cannibalism.
I don't always do that, actually. So I DM'd a campaign with Connor and our friend Eugene, and like how quickly this campaign became about cannibalism was insane. It like spun out of control.
Right.
And like now, even in a campaign we're playing now, Eugene said something about like it's just. I don't want to go into depth too much.
Well, it reminds me of the South Park episode where they're like snowed in for a night, and then they're like, "I'm starting to get kind of hungry. We're probably gonna have to eat each other." And like, just like one reasonable person is like, "What do you mean? It's like been like a couple hours."
Yeah, but they just dump him over the edge, and she's freaking. She's like, "How are we gonna get any food?" And this is the part where he's like, and again, no clear communication. He's just like, "Okay," and then he goes off.
Yeah.
And uses himself as bait.
Yeah.
Which is a cool scene.
Yeah.
But wild contextually.
As we touched on, it looks very cool. Bad CGI, but again, kind of undermines the resource problems they have because apparently he has an endless amount of food at any time.
Yeah, it did kind of blow that whole resource thing.
This is the part where the movie tries to be more than what it is, which is where he's like happy now and he's got the big old fillet of the fish. And he says to her, Helen told me you don't like my singing because you can't sing. And he's like, you ever try and listen to the sound of the world? No, because you're making too much noise. And you're like, oh shit, this movie's trying to be deep. And then she does the classic thing where she's like, she's like, I'm weird. And then he's like thinking, I'm weird too.
Yeah.
That connects us. And that's supposed to be like, oh, wow, and then it's just so fucking silly. Feels so out of place.
It sets up the bittersweet ending of like the reason why he can't be on land, right? Like this is his world out here. Like the dry land is too loud for him. Like he needs to be just like.
Yeah, that was well done with the sound design at the end. I mean, it was pretty obvious what was going on. He's overstimulated. I did say earlier to Jacob, I was like, what if a fishman on the spectrum like met people is like this movie? And like the overstimulation and stuff really kind of tracks for him.
Wow, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It was a little too real.
He's not a bad guy. He's just,
autistic.
He's just neurodivergent. All right, cut that. Double it, triple it.
You didn't use the R word.
Like he does in the Dennis Hopper does in the movie, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot to take a note of that.
Which once again, he's just watching the movie.
He's lucky he's
commenting
fucking dead, dude, because he would be canceled otherwise.
Yeah, so the scene at night. I mean, like
the
you
mood
said,
looks fucking sick as fuck. This is a great shot.
It didn't totally work for me, but it worked for me a little bit. Like I liked that they're at least attempting to set up a character arc here, and that he is warming up to her, and that they are that at least like I said, he has a character arc here where he is rejected by society, and that is kind of his connection to Enola, is that she is also rejected by society. Like.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Everyone on the atoll thought she was a freak because of her drawings.
Yeah. And so we're like, all right, she's a freak. He's a freak. Also, this is like, because we have them talking about it while they're like sort of like eating. And then there's the like scene at night where Helen like explains that, oh, I'm not her mother. Right.
Yeah.
And we get
right. That's actually a pretty
background.
big reveal for us too, as the audience.
Yeah, there is. So when she gets thrown, she screams, Helen. Right, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's not her mom because if it was her mom, she would scream."
That's a
mom.
Yeah, great notice there. And I thought it was sweet when she gives back the charcoal
crayon.
or the crayon
Yeah,
or whatever
and then
it
he
is.
gives it back to her.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's because he saw what she drew, which is like stick figures of them holding hands. It's pretty cute. Like
It's just
Yeah.
alone.
And
yeah.
then,
Because he's obsessed with his shit, dude.
yeah.
He's
What,
so
what
materialistic.
happens the next morning, everyone?
Cute teaching her to
Yeah.
swim scene, pretty
Helen
cheesy,
like
but
wakes up and like runs to
She
the
freaks
she
out. She's like,
thinks that
no,
Enola's
there's
drowning.
monsters in there.
they're sleeping.
But hey,
I know,
conveniently, yeah, the monsters sleep at this time.
yeah.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, that was so
Nice.
just like, here, we'll shut this down.
Yeah,
right
don't
now.
worry.
Yeah.
The monsters are sleeping right now. And I would know because I'm part monster.
Yeah, pretty cheesy little swim scene, but
The slow motion,
Again,
slow motion with the contemplative music over it.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that what they're going for. I don't think they totally land it, but
Yep.
they're doing something.
But
And
that's
Helen-
kind of where we get the sense that he's warming up to them, right?
And Helen's like, whoa, he's got some paternal instincts.
yeah.
That turns me on.
Yeah, we're getting force fed this stuff pretty hard.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
which is why it's some of it is it comes off corny and everything, but I mean, yeah, it's just like shoved right down your throat. You're just like the day before this, he's
Yeah.
selling, considering selling the child. even.
Yeah. Again, it's just
And-
not enough time. They're just not setting it up well
yeah.
enough. We get them coming up on kind of a cool looking boat rig
barter
setup.
outpost.
Yeah, it looked like a
Yeah.
treehouse to me. I was
Yeah.
getting treehouse vibes, like floating treehouse, and I was just like, man, the sets are so cool.
They really are. I really like the creepy marionette setup of them waving their hands.
Yeah.
Based on
When-
the,
I gotta
Yeah.
say, I'm on that boat. I look out. I'm like, those fools are dead, dude.
yeah, it looks
Yeah.
creepy as hell.
Like
yeah.
hanging by like one hand like this, you know.
Yeah.
For
yeah, that
sure.
part's once again kind of meant to show how gruesome the deacon is.
I like the underwater scope. We talked about the jet skis that are weighted down.
The periscope, yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
fucking cool. Just awesome setup to weigh them down as a trap. Like, love that.
Yep, and they have this whole just trap set up.
Yeah, and they start escaping. They tilt the boat to avoid a net that they had set up to trap them.
It's pretty fun. I
Yeah,
like that.
He
I like
planks off the side of the boat.
Yeah.
Let's,
Yeah,
let's be
that's
clear
sick as
about
fuck.
what happened
Yeah.
here.
that's
pretty
the kind
rad.
of shit like I don't need to believe anything.
Yeah.
Fuck it, dude. This is dope.
And the boat just lifts off.
Yeah.
That was
Well, I think
I
it is
loved
like
it.
catamarans. I think are supposed to be very light in that way. Yeah,
and I think you can kind of do that to a degree with like smaller solo kind of sailing
Yeah.
boats.
Mm.
But that thing's
that
huge,
thing is
yeah.
huge, and it was just like Kevin Costner's just like watch this, and
Everybody knows fish are really strong, like spiders. You
Oh, yeah.
know.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so when you're a fish man, you're like really strong, like a fish.
Yeah,
And we get the parasail reveal here, or like kite or whatever you'd call it, that it releases
Yeah.
from the boat to give them some extra speed, I guess.
Yeah, fucking kite sail thing.
And
was
Deacon
pretty
shoots the mariner.
Yes,
Um,
we always love an injury
yeah.
Yeah.
in a movie.
they
Yeah.
never really readdressed that
Yeah, well, he
throughout the movie.
they addressed it a little bit, like they show him walking around and he's a little like ow, but
He's-
he
He's
probably,
touching it, and then like Deacon like sticks his finger in it
oh,
like
yeah,
later
when,
on.
when they finally catch him, yeah. Yeah, a little bit, but yeah, it seems to heal pretty fast, but we also don't really get a total great sense of how much time is moving by and all that.
And then this is like a classic thing that happens in movies a lot. It's like, okay, guy is warming up, something happens, now like he's fucking pissed, and we fucking lost all like progress that we've made. He's so fucking angry. He's like, I was never gonna take you to dry land. It doesn't fucking exist.
Yeah.
And there's like, and we get that whole fucking thing. And he says to her, "You want to see dry land? I'll show you dry land." And this is an insane choice. You just escaped
Yeah.
from these people.
I was thinking about this,
And
yeah.
now you're going to
Take time to go to her.
set your anchor.
And exactly the concern we have as the audience is what happens where, they catch up to you while you're doing
It's
this.
one of those scenes in a movie where you're anxious and the movie isn't
Addressing the
it
danger.
isn't anxious. The movie isn't anxious.
Yeah.
You're anxious because you're like, what's gonna happen to him? But like
yeah,
the movie's
it
like,
just,
whatever.
flips into Wonderland scene.
Yeah, there's a few of those coming up here where I'm just like, this doesn't seem like the right emotional reaction to your situation.
The
right now.
diving bell contraption is fun.
It's cool.
It's wild that homie's got so many fucking flares.
Yeah, I mean, he probably could have tossed
Yeah.
this thing off before Nola, but
Yeah, yeah. No, I think maybe because it's in the water. No, it's still drag. Yeah, I don't get it, but I do want to say something that's so important. So important.
Let's hear it.
We are back again with product placement, baby. We get that Pepsi can so clearly shown underwater. Oh,
I missed
mama.
it. I must have been taking
My
notes or
mouth
something.
was watering for a nice can of Pepsi. I don't fucking drink soda, but we are so back, baby.
Yeah, so it's cool to see the ruins
The
of society.
submarine?
I mean, I love the concept. I don't think it looks
The
great.
submarine in the cityscape is like one of the cooler parts, but yeah, it could like when you play BioShock
Yeah.
and you first like go under the water,
the
that
lighthouse. Yeah.
that fucking scene is amazing.
Iconic.
It's so good. This is like not even a tenth of that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be. I would like for it to sit somewhere at like maybe 50% of the
Yeah.
wonder of that, but
Yeah, this is bottom shelf underwater city reveal for sure.
yeah, this is like plastic fucking handle of fucking what's that vodka? Burnett's. That's what it is,
Yep.
dude.
Oh man, this.
The other one's Belvedere or some Grey Goose,
So they come back up. Of course, the smokers have found them.
No way.
Yeah, why would that happen? Were they not just on their trail? Or?
So there is like the cool thing of like her seeing the shark fins,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
she's and like they were gonna send out the trackers. So that's cool, like I do like that, and she's like smart enough and like resourceful enough to hide. Also like that because stupid kids are always like annoying, like
Yeah.
in movies where you're like, just because you're a child doesn't mean like you're clueless. Like you have an idea of danger.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
mean, if we're gonna shit on all the other shit, we might as well, hey, at least she
Credit where
hides.
it's due,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Also-
we've been given lots of credit. There's lots of cool things
Also,
in
the
this
way
movie.
no, fuck this movie. No, I'm just sure. Also, the way that they find her is actually kind of like a smart little thing I liked.
Yeah.
Where
he
he's like,
tricks her.
"Oh, I'm just gonna kill them both," and she's like, "No."
And he's like, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, and I thought it was because you instantly assume when they resurface that Enola's been captured, right?
Yeah.
But
Not
they
quite.
kind of Deacon instantly is kind of like, "Where's the girl?"
And it's showing.
And then you're like, "Oh, she must have hidden,
Right.
right?" And then right after he says, "Where's the girl?" Helen sees her foot kind of dangling
Right.
from
Yeah.
the pontoon.
And
So you're giving all those. Well, I wouldn't say they're clues. They're once again kind of force fed to you.
Yeah.
But
It is
you
funny how
get a
this
sense
movie.
of what's going on.
This movie takes showing so close to telling.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, and I do like that. I mean, this is character progression for the Mariner, right? He doesn't give them up, right? That like the whole him teaching her how to swim and stuff. Now we have passed that kind of. We are at the point in his character arc where he is trying to protect these people and will put himself and his boat at risk to save them.
Yeah, and we also get the part here that we did at the beginning where
Yeah.
that classic ploy when you like a girl and you want to kiss her, so you say
take her underwater.
you take her underwater. You're like, "Don't worry, I'll breathe for the both of us."
Okay, yeah, this makes no sense on so many different levels. Real quick before that, Deacon does swear on Poseidon that he'll burn the ship down at this point, and that was just a cool world building stuff.
He also calls him the sperm of the devil.
But yeah, okay, so there's so many layers of the breathing underwater thing not making sense. Where
I
it's
do
like,
want to point out as well,
yeah,
while this is happening, you hear Enola at one point going, Helen, which is such a silly juxtaposition of two things. Like,
Yeah.
it feels so irresponsible. She's just making out with a fish man.
yeah, and she's into
Yeah.
it. You can tell she's like, whoa.
She's into it.
Yeah, she doesn't need to breathe if she's turned on enough.
So okay. First of all, if he's breathing out into her, that's not the correct. You need carbon dioxide, like you said. Like it should be oxygen. But also that doesn't mean there's a vacuum in her mouth now that isn't letting water into her mouth. You can't just breathe through the water. Like none of it makes any sense. But okay.
I've known a few
You know
people with an
what?
airtight
So
seal.
so you guys may not know this about me, but I was a certified scuba diver at one point in time,
Ooh.
right? And when you have to train how to pull the mouthpiece out of your mouth and put it back in while you're underwater because anything can happen.
Okay,
right?
so there is a way to do this.
Yeah, and the way that you do it is you press a button on the back of the thing and it shoots air out really fast.
Oh.
Right? So what I'm getting at is that
You
in
blow
order
hard
for
enough?
this to have worked, let's say that his gills turn the water into oxygen instead
Yeah.
of carbon dioxide, right?
Yeah.
And he
He
can
would have
divert
had
that
to-
from his lungs to
Yeah,
his mouth.
he would have had to like blasted air, like like to get up to her mouth first. But,
Yeah. Very silly, but hey, whatever. Fuck it. it's a kiss setup.
Yeah. Is kissing the enemy of the nitpick?
Not in this case.
No.
It doesn't quite pass the bar.
No. It doesn't, but again, this is like not as big of a not as big of a problem as the character shit, right? Like
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can look past stuff like that. I can look past the jet ski bumping into something and blowing up.
Yeah.
I can look past him breathing into her somehow.
I can look past the
it's-
fact that the amount of oil they have is nowhere near enough to fuel their entire fleet.
Yeah, but yeah, character arc stuff, that is what attaches you as the audience to the movie. And if
Yeah.
that's not totally working, then the movie's not totally working.
And this is a great classic All Is Lost, especially for this guy who loves his shit, loves his boat. His boat is finally wrecked. Like it's been teased throughout the
Yeah.
movie like, "Oh man, don't wreck his boat. He loves his boat." And they're just like floating on that little piece.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that Deacon's playing good cop with Enola. This whole conversation's
Trying to
very
get her
fun.
smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, what does he say? Nothing like a good smoke when you miss your mom. Never too young to start, he says.
This is when I wrote the note. Oh, I get why they call them smokers now, because they smoke. And he's tempting her with some crayons too.
Yeah.
But like Enola really has this like sort of vision in her mind of who the Mariner is. She's like,
Yeah.
he's meaner than you are.
Yeah.
And then
Fucking
Helen,
Gregor?
So no, Helen and the Mariner like resurface, right? The
Yeah.
boat is torched.
Yeah,
What
all
do they
this shit is
do?
got, yeah.
They fucking
bone.
bang.
Yeah,
Great
they
time to
don't.
make
That's
love.
like
yeah, this very much
like
stood out
this
to me.
movie was
Aren't
written
you,
by a
like-
dude. All the women were written by dudes, and they were written poorly. It's just like
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be worried
Yeah.
about your daughter? Like, I know we've been building this up, and it makes
Not
sense
her
here.
daughter.
not her
dude.
daughter.
Yeah,
not her daughter, not her problem, Rob.
Yeah.
But yeah, immediate.
But
like,
there
why
is
didn't
no-
Why didn't you want to make love to me?
There's
'Cause you didn't
no
want it.
concern.
Yeah, it's just bad
sure.
timing. Bad timing. Yeah.
And then again, is he a virgin? Is this his first time?
No, dude, the Mariner fucks.
No, people are grossed out by him. He has webbed
Yeah.
feet. He's
And
also
he's a mute.
People are grossed out by him, but people have also been offering themselves to him
multiple
all
times.
movie,
Yeah.
before
and he's been turning it down.
before they knew. Well, I guess one person after. One person out of survival who did not want to, and another one because their parents were forcing her. But I also like. Do you think he has gills on his dick
Yes.
so he can bone underwater? What if he like? What if his like reproduction genitalia is fish more so? So he just like leaks out, into the eggs or whatever.
Oh
Don't
my
worry,
God.
I'll breathe for both of us. The problem is.
Sorry, I just wanted to go there. I just did. Fish dick.
I do like that he goes under to find the drawing of the National Geographic photo, and that's how he realizes that the vegetation she drew does, like, that's when he believes in Enola, is like he
Yeah.
matches that up. I thought that was a cool little attention to
Kind of
detail.
realizes she's been to dry land at some point in time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a tree.
Yeah.
Like, it's not wild that she would know what a tree looks like, but
That's actually a great point, yeah. But it's the specific vegetation, I think, right?
But we haven't seen a horse.
no, we haven't seen a horse. Horse is
Yeah.
way better than the tree.
I think the fact that he sees a picture of a tree in context to land, right, in that National Geographic, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, these things are like.
Yeah,
This
no,
is-
yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. For
It's
sure.
also, again, with the paper stuff and how long has it been? Again, if it's been like thousands of years, or maybe it's just hundreds, but still, like, would the paper still be around? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
could you have a pristine National Geographic picture here? I don't know.
saying it's been
mean, we have-
hundreds of years and thinking
have-
that he has gills is fucking
It
wild.
could be something crazy, like all the nuclear reactors when the world was flooded over, melted down,
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Right, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of left unexplained. We do have paper from like.
Wait, okay,
don't we
wait,
have
no,
paper
sorry.
from like the beginning
No,
of
this
paper.
is an adaptation. It's not it's an environmental adaptation. I'm so sorry. Because like what you're saying is like the nuclear reactor stuff. Why would that give you specifically water adaptation?
Why would a mutant spider give you Spider-Man powers? I don't know.
Because that's a superhero movie.
Well,
And
like,
it-
come on, though. I mean,
And what do you mean? Why would it's a spider? Like that makes a little bit more sense to me. Like
sure,
he
but
didn't get bit.
I mean-
You're saying you think his like dad got bitten by a radioactive fish?
that or just that a bunch of people got mutated, and it just so happened that this mutation got carried down through Darwinian process, whatever.
I think that's what they're going for with the movie.
I don't think they're going for fucking anything. I think they're going for a guy who can breathe underwater.
Who knows? I did
It's
like.
fun.
I
I'll say that.
also I really like this little like again just putting you in the mind of someone in this world. Helen says she always thought that dry land floated and drifted with the wind, and that's why it was so hard to find. I'm like, yeah, that's a fun little like insight into what it would be like to be in this. Well, you're trying to imagine something you can't comprehend, then it's just like, well, yeah, of course it floats.
And then very conveniently, our good friend Gregor appears.
Yes, this is very dumb.
And you know what?
Yeah.
This time it's very easy for him to pick up people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do love his contraption though. It's really fun
Yeah.
looking.
It is fun looking. It's almost like a bicycle attached to a hot air balloon or a jet ski maybe.
I also like the thing where he's a smart thinking burning your boat. Without the smoke, I wouldn't have been able to find you. Gregor's fun.
Yeah, a little clueless.
He's doing a weird accent in the fucking movie, dude.
A lot of weird accents, yeah.
I felt like Kevin Costner's kind of like doing a strange sort of like doesn't sound quite like his normal
That's
voice.
a good point, yeah. It's something there. Yeah, good point.
It's a fish
This
accent.
is when we find out that there was survivors from the attack in the
On the
beginning of
atoll,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
of the
and we
atoll.
also find out here that he figured out that it's coordinates.
the
on her
poles
back.
have reversed.
Yeah.
Yes, which I thought was a little fun. That does happen.
Yeah.
Science.
And you know what, dude? The Mariner, he cares about someone. He's gonna go save Enola.
Yep.
Yeah. He's turned around.
He doesn't even care about Dryland. He thinks that she's seen Dryland, but he doesn't care about that because he's gonna save her because they're freaks.
because they're friends,
They're freaky friends.
freaky
Yep.
friends.
And this is probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Captain Joe Hazelwood.
Well, yes, that part was so funny. I couldn't like all the stuff with the deacon took me out of the immersion so hard.
That's funny
right?
because he just
like,
ramped up the fun for me every time he's like.
It's super fun and I love it. It just does not fit the.
He's
Sure.
not in the movie, dude.
Like you keep saying he's not in the movie, but it's like his villain could have been so good. Like the Mad Max bad guy is like terrifying.
He's
right? You know
so
what I
of
mean?
the world, you know.
And like so of that world, and it just feels.
I also
it
love
takes
you
me out
keep
of it,
you
but-
keep saying Mad Max, but you're talking about Fury Road, like, aren't you?
No, I mean the original Matt. Well, yeah, I guess
Because the first one isn't even post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's not even
Oh,
post-apocalyptic.
really?
No,
I
it's,
didn't know that.
Oh, you
it's-
haven't seen the
I
first
haven't
one?
seen the originals. No.
Yeah, he's a cop in Australia,
Yeah.
and like there's just and like things
Oh.
are sort of slowly falling apart. You can tell like that like the government is sort of degrading, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was
Yeah.
all post-apocalyptic.
You know,
Interesting.
I watched that movie and I discovered those movies in high school and loved them.
Yeah.
and had totally forgot that until I rewatched it recently.
Yeah,
but-
I've only seen the first one, and then the Fury Road. I haven't seen I haven't even seen Thunderdome.
they're great.
I heard
You-
Thunderdome's
y'all-
the best one, right?
Y'all definitely have to do.
Besides Fury Road, probably.
Y'all definitely have to do.
Yeah, I feel like that could have been a desert movie potentially. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, apocalyptic,
Once you get to
post-apocalyptic.
apocalyptic or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Anyways, this was my favorite scene when the drifter is riding his jet ski through the fog.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and
Yeah.
it kind of
It's not fog,
It's
bro.
like-
It's smoke.
I know we're rolling up on Smoker HQ,
Yeah.
It's called
and
D's.
it's covered in smoke, fog, whatever.
It's
you
called
want to
D's, and in the like subtitles, it's like apostrophe DEEZ, implying that it's like the ending of a full word. And that's one of those things where it's like maybe not so much mystery, like like D's, you know. And of course, these days, you're just the whole time just like D's nuts.
call it.
Oh, real quick, when Deacon is talking to the picture of Captain Joe Hazelwood, he does say, after centuries of shame, like yada yada,
Yeah.
we will finally like redeem ourselves or whatever. So maybe it has just been centuries. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? They didn't know when they made this movie.
I love the whole speech Deacon gives. Children of Providence, citizens of the good ship. He has a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
He's gonna smash at the end of his speech.
Throwing out Smeat.
Throwing that Smeat around.
Throwing that Smeat all over
And I love that the
place.
ship has a big no smoking thing on it.
That's
pretty
great.
good.
Also, I love how the pattern of damage on the hull is perfect for climbing.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
at first when he lands on it and he touches, I was like, "What the fuck are those rocks?" Is he like
I
on
thought
land?
the
Barnacles,
same
right?
They're
thing.
barnacles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Centuries of barnacles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could eat the barnacles.
Yeah. Can you? Can you just eat
I
barnacles?
think you can in
you
a way.
prepare them right.
You could probably slurp, slurp.
Yeah.
Dude, oh man, it's great. They're not like growing like fucking like shellfish and stuff like that. I feel like that would be something. Man, a fucking like shellfish farm like just floating. Oh man,
Not bad.
let's start writing
we would do great
Waterworld
in
too.
this. Yeah, we'd be entrepreneurs in this world.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that this whole concept could nowadays be done so well, right? We could have a really cool post-apocalyptic
Waterworld is a
world
great
movie.
idea.
And it like the concept is so fantastic that I almost do want
Waterworld
like,
too.
Not even a Waterworld 2. I want them
Just
to
another
act
take,
like
yeah.
Waterworld doesn't exist and redo it.
Yeah.
Do
You know
their
what I mean?
own sort of take on like
Yeah.
the polar ice caps have melted and we're like a civilization afloat. I kind of like picture like an Absalom of sorts, like a fucking huge city.
Yeah,
like
there would
Yeah.
huge
there would be,
floating
yeah.
city.
Yeah, I did want one like
Bunch of rafts tied together, dude.
yeah, which has been a thing throughout history, like floating kind of towns that they use for merchant like stuff,
Also, it was a thing in Moana with all those like little guys.
right,
They were cute as fuck.
right. Isn't Venice partially floating?
Venice is sinking.
Oh, there you go. Ops. There you go.
It's,
Learn something
it's
every
the
day, folks.
The opposite.
Wow.
So yeah, he just completely scales the side of the ship
With the convenient hole placement.
Yeah.
Also, this movie, the
I
color
can buy
palette.
that though. I mean, how many battles have they been in?
Sure. The color palette for this movie is rust and like the grayish tones of water. Like that. It is so muted, so homogeneous, so like repetitive.
Yeah.
Which I like, I mean, it kind of makes sense for like the setting and everything.
I do like the steampunk vibes that
Yeah,
that
but
kind
you
of color
can
palette gives
give
off.
a
But yeah,
little,
a little more
give little
pizzazz.
pops,
Sure, yeah.
little pops here and there.
I'm with you.
And dude, but by the time it got to the end and you see the trees, like my eyes were like thanking me. They were
Right.
like starved
Sanctity of
for
land.
color.
That was the whole
Yeah.
point, man.
Yeah, I mean, I did think
Maybe,
about
I
that a
don't
little
know.
bit, but like maybe like teasing it a little bit, maybe
Sure.
giving a little like maybe glimmers of like that throughout. But
Yeah.
it is really just like everything is so gray and
Yeah.
rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's points where it kind of feels because it is so they do a good job of making it feel empty because it is
Yeah.
right, but it does get exhausting
Yeah,
after a while.
it is pretty exhausting.
So to me, even him, that's why I loved the jet ski rolling up because you get fog, smoke. I assume it's supposed to be smoke because
From the
he's rolling up on
smokers.
the smokers, but it was just something different. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, guys, I hate to be this guy, but do you think the smokers, you think they ever smoke that kind, bud?
Oh yeah, there's.
You think they're getting stony baloney and chowing down on some smeat?
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, they're very like, they have that whole like anti-nature thing vibe. He hates sales. They use a bunch of gasoline. They like smoke cigarettes. It's smoke and everything. You don't see any vegetation at all on their
Yeah.
fucking.
I mean, when
like,
he said
but-
I hate sales, I thought he just meant more so like I hate when people escape us. I don't want to see any sales.
yeah, for sure. But none of their boats have any sails.
Yeah, they're motorized.
Actually,
yeah.
they opt for oars, which we see like
Yeah,
when
I
he like
do.
mobilizes. that, we're
Yeah.
like,
Oh my God.
Why aren't you rowing?
I also love this. Yeah, this whole like sort of like setup of like, oh, they're all rowing. He's going around murking people, and it's just like
This
he
is
just,
fun, yeah.
He just, but yeah, it is fun. But him walking
Enola
over.
is taunting the deacon and the henchman the
Yeah.
whole time.
Nord.
Yeah, I love that's when we get the whole thing about no name, so death won't find him.
Yeah.
She's
Good
really
stuff.
like hyping him up. She's kind of like his flavor.
And she's hyping the
flav.
audience up.
Yeah.
I like this whole little montage.
No,
setup, yeah.
I like what the shit she says is fun. Like that's good shit. That's a good like, she's kind of like I kind of wish the way the movie was set up was like maybe the Mariner is sort of like not like a folk hero, but like this like more like mythical figure that
Yeah.
we hear about,
Yeah.
and then like slowly
People don't really believe in him.
maybe even
sometimes.
people talking like
That's a good idea.
we start with the Mariner. We don't know he's the Mariner.
Right.
We see him hearing stories about the
And
Mariner.
then they capture him at the beginning, not because he won't fuck the daughter, but because
He's the Mariner.
He's the Mariner, and he has all sorts of legends about his
Yeah.
deeds surrounding him. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many ways they could have nailed this,
That would be
and
fun,
the
yeah.
fact that they didn't find a single one sometimes is concerning.
See, I mean, it's not. I'm more positive on this movie than you guys are, but yeah, it's like
It's a fun movie. I
it's
don't-
it's the
Yeah.
fights and like the choreography, the like
the stunts.
all the process shots along with the stunts. All of that stuff is so great. But it's like this movie is so like flash first, people second. You know, like
I'm with you.
like
It's
that,
flawed. It's very flawed.
Yeah,
as we
for
were
sure.
I think
saying.
there's
right?
I
a
don't
bigger focus nowadays to make you feel attachment to characters and
I-
writing.
I also-
don't think that was a big thing in the. I mean, in some movies it was, but
I almost
this
think it
movie's
was a
definitely
big thing a long time ago because they couldn't do so much. Like it had to be so character driven, and then as like the technology advanced, it kind of like fell by the wayside, and like people like want more and more of it, right? But yeah, man, like I said, there's all these things that definitely work for. And I would say watching it, I thought it was gonna suck way more.
Yeah, well, you had mentioned last week we're probably going to make fun of this movie more than
I
any other
said this
film.
it's gonna be the worst movie we've seen, and it's not. This is better. I'll say it's better than David Lynch Dune for me.
I'm with you.
There's
there.
more
I
fun.
hate David Lynch, Dune. But we're not here to talk about.
Bro,
that,
I used to champion it as like oh no, it's not that bad. And then when we rewatched it for the pod, I was like, what the fuck was I on? And I ended up being the one shitting on it the most,
yeah.
actually.
I still
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but yeah, it's a hot mess.
I hate that movie. It
Yeah.
actually has made me not really like David Lynch that much.
Wow.
No, don't say that,
Yeah.
dude. R.I.P., dude.
R.I.P.
I know.
Pour one out.
You're gonna have to cut that one out.
We're gonna double it.
Anyways, go ahead.
Well,
Go
yeah, I
ahead.
do like that we get a kill from him that uses his abilities here, where he sees that they've found his jet ski and he jumps down to pull them underwater.
Yeah,
That's
and he
pretty
just
fun.
drowns them. That's sick.
Well,
Good
but
shit.
Yeah.
like again, I'm not sure if it quite makes sense. How did he keep himself weighted underwater?
He's got one of those things that fish have where they can like sink.
Oh,
You gotta think that if he's got gills, he's got what do they call them, like a bladder or something, like because fish have this like organ that helps
yeah, I've
them
heard of this. Yeah,
regulate like
Yeah.
their depth.
I guess
So-
that would make sense. I love the whole bring it up slow. And he's like, I said slow. Boom.
Yeah.
That's a fun little sequence. And yeah, then we get the whole like killing montage, the little speech from Enola, which is some good stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I enjoy with like he calls her the instrument of our salvation.
Yeah.
And then the guy asks him, one of the inner circle guys who has been there the whole time is like, which way we rowing? And he's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And then he like looks surprised. He's like, dude, you've been there the whole time. You're the one trying to decode the map and you haven't figured anything out. Oh, you think this
Yeah.
guy just figured something out of nowhere?
Yeah, that's really funny.
But I do love
he
the
even
idea.
says
Like,
he has enough time to figure it
Yeah.
out before they realize they're rowing nowhere or some shit.
that's the shit that I'm like kind of like more okay with on like the
Yeah.
Deacon. Like that works for me that he's kind of like, whatever, you know. In that moment, it felt like he had like a toe in the movie.
Yeah.
A toe in the
I also really like his line at the end of his speech. Dry land is not our destination, or not just our destination, it's our destiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very cult leader.
Yeah.
I think it's also one thing I will commend them on. This is not supposed to be exclusively men. I feel like
Yeah.
that would be very typical. Is like they're all guys, but no, they're
Yeah.
like women who
We
are
see
part
women,
of this.
yeah.
You see one out of maybe every like 50. I think there's just one lady that they had probably on the cast.
smoking cigarettes, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
This is a line that I thought was funny, but did take me out of it a little bit when the Mariner's walking up, which is a very cool setup. I love that
The goggles.
their confrontation of him
Yeah.
walking up across the whatever you call that part of the
And he
ship,
thinks he's
And he's just
a
like-
drag.
up on the balcony. Yeah, well, why aren't you rowing? And then he realizes who he is, and he's
Which
like a
is-
turd that won't flush. He says,
Which
Yes,
is
I remember that.
which is a really funny line, but also like, do you guys know about flushing toilets? Like, I don't know. if
it
that's
is
what-
cool, but it's like it. How do you not know? He's got a big gun and he's like walking up towards you. Like,
I think they just I
It's
I
the
buy it
fucking
because it's
Mariner,
like
bro.
you would never. It's just like you would never assume someone would be ballsy enough to walk up to you in the middle of your base, ready to take you and your entire army on.
in like
He's also
in
wearing-
real life, not in a fucking movie.
He's wearing super cool goggles
He is
Hell
wearing
yeah.
super cool
and a
goggles.
headscarf.
Hell
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is kind of hard to know. You're right.
It's kind of
Also, I love that he just saunters up and hey, guess what's right next to him?
the oil reserves,
Yeah,
baby.
that's very convenient for sure.
Like also when they drove up to it earlier in the movie, wasn't it a different spot? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, there could be multiple.
But also,
but
he's
the okay, think about the geography of where the guy is, right? Like
Right.
and the way they popped
I mean, for all we know, it could be the one directly above.
right,
the
and then
one we
there's like
saw
another
last time? Yeah, I don't know.
You're right. But felt very convenient.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then homie's got more flares.
yeah, he's got more flares. He lights the flare. He demands Enola back, or he'll drop the flare in the
because
oil.
she's his friend.
And
He fucking does it.
yeah, he's
I
just
love
like
that.
he fucking doesn't give a shit.
I
That's
And,
a
love
great
this.
choice.
I love
Great
this.
choice.
like what happens next is just not what you expect. Really, you expect
No.
the whole thing to blow, but it's
No.
just kind of like
I think
starts-
this
Because
is a
that's
great
the whole thing. Because
epic
he even says
setup.
you're gonna blow us all up, and so it is this thing of like I love that he follows through on his threat. I don't love that it's set up to us like oh he's gonna kill him and Enola to stop her from like being like taken by these guys, but then oh don't worry you can have your cake and eat it too. Like again at the end of the day I love that he actually just does it and follows through on it.
right.
But it is like it doesn't. I have a little indigestion after digesting that
Little
one.
out of character though. Is this the first time he actually follows through with a decision in the whole movie?
I'm so fucking glad we had you on this fucking episode.
I do love, this trope though is so good of no one believing that the hero is crazy enough to do something, and then he fucking does it. It's very satisfying. Just absolutely wrecks their entire base, everything they've been building, everything they've been working up, and it sets up a great final set piece of him trying to navigate and survive this situation as the entire place is
Yeah.
burning down. It's very
And
cool.
it's starting to sink as well. We're getting some Titanic vibes
Yeah.
as it like turns up, and like of course, again conveniently, Gregor and the other survivors like come
Pulling
in,
up
and
right
we have
then.
the enforcer as well. And then we get the very perfectly placed shot from fucking Deacon to knock Enola off the fucking balloon.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
hold on. Before that happens, he takes the plane out by himself with an anchor.
Okay, and what's great about that is that you think it's just gonna pull the plane down. It just rips the wheels off,
Yeah.
and the plane just crashes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he just scoops Enola.
Oh,
it's
It
so
was
great.
great.
There
It
were
was
a couple
great.
other things. Well, we already touched on the oh thank God moment from the guy down
Yeah.
there, which is
Yeah.
one of my something I just remember my entire life. I love that little
Yeah,
moment.
he's like watching the flare come down, and he's like,
So ready
"Oh,
to be
thank
done with
God."
this nightmare
He
life.
was like living down there, like eating smeat, you know. He probably doesn't
yeah.
get to smoke cigarettes either.
No, poor
No.
guy.
Poor guy doesn't even smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, and we get the Mariner takes out Nord. You should have stayed in the water. Whatever, for whatever reason, the way he says that line is very goofy to me. But then
Yeah, I don't like that
His
guy.
gun misfires and he kills him.
Yeah, okay, that is also like that
Very
was
convenient.
Yeah, dude, it's just like again, we on this podcast we champion like ingenuity. Like we
Right.
like for like there to be thought into it. Like the hero doesn't have to necessarily be smart, but like a level of craftiness
Yeah.
is
It
to
works
me,
a lot better when the hero's weapon misfires because then it's an extra wrinkle. When it just
Yeah.
saves them as a ex machina, then it's not as satisfying.
Yeah, not as satisfying. But
Um,
fuck that guy, we hate him. He
Yep.
looks shitty and he sucks.
Yep, and then we get the plane crashing. Oh yeah, there's also a really cool shot of the when everything's blowing up. We get the jet ski drivers jumping out into the water and they're on fire. Very cool.
Yeah, and they're coming
Yeah.
like swooping out of the boat. That was fun.
Which brings us to the best scene of the whole movie. Oh my God.
When the three jet skis
The
collide.
final scene.
Okay, yes,
so
so
the
that's
final
what I
scene
was
of
trying
the
to get to.
movie is yes.
The
or-
final battle scene.
final battle scene.
The
yeah.
thing that's what I wanted to get to is like he fucking shoots the rope. This is a whole Rube Goldberg machine of fucking bullshit. He fucking shoots the rope perfectly so only she falls out.
Yeah.
And then
Hole in one or something. He says
the
like
three fucking because he loves golf, obviously.
yep.
The three fucking jet skis heading straight at her with no consideration for because even if they did swoop her, It would have like crashed.
Well, I had the same thought.
They would have had the same outcome.
Well, the justification they give is that they're all looking up.
Yeah.
And so they could have swerved and avoided each other if they weren't all distracted by it. But it's extremely goofy.
There's so many things that are the perfect length and the perfect duration in this movie to like
the
save
bungee
people.
cord that he uses.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah.
And it is cute how she's like, "Did you see me? I was swimming." And he was like, "Yeah, good job, kid." You
Yeah,
know?
I can swim now. I wrote that.
Yeah.
Part
But
too.
he ties what looks like
He
just a
jumps
rope
off. He jumps off before they tie him down too. He's like,
Yeah.
"Here, tie this to something."
and jumps off. Yeah.
Which is his whole fucking like one of his major problems throughout the movie is like cooperate and communicate. And he's like, "Nah, man, I got this." Woo!
And we get that
Could
kind
you
of like
imagine-
back and forth, and then she like ties it off right as the rope pulls
of course,
tight,
like
you
the
know?
perfect amount of
And
time for
the
everything.
The size of the explosion from the 3 jet skis crashing in is just like so absurd.
I believe that one because Dennis Hopper's performance is so explosive. You know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good point. Good
yeah.
point.
Yeah, you can't contain that heat.
And we get fucking Gregor, of course. North is south, south is north. I figured it all out.
Yep.
Since the villain is gone now, all that's left in the movie is just to find dry land.
Yeah, it's kind of there's like we're wrapping things up now. It's a cute moment of you see him squeezing out the last drops of water, and he puts it in Enola's mouth while she's sleeping. And Helen notices this full character arc. He's putting Enola's survival in front of his own now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I believe it.
I mean,
I finally believe.
I believe in the conception, like what they've set up. Whether or not I'm like emotional over this scene.
It's
no.
like looking at the bullet notes of a story
Yeah.
versus actually reading a story.
Yeah.
It's like the cliff
The
notes.
outline
You
makes sense.
feel like you're watching bullet points
Yeah.
of a character of character development.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the part where he's good now.
Yeah.
I like that he wakes up in the
To the
morning and there's
seagull.
a seagull.
Yeah.
I was thinking though with the human civilizations and stuff like there probably are birds like around but they make it seem like he hasn't seen this
Yeah,
bird.
you would think that they would perch up at the atolls and stuff like
I mean,
that.
Yeah.
like pigeons thrive in like urban environments. Have you guys? This is a tangent, but this is something that I think of that is so kind of sad but very interesting. Like the reason there's so many pigeons is because they were an essential part of communication before, and they used to be like our pets, like very valued, like cared for animals, and then we just like got the internet and telegrams and telephones and the internet, and we just like abandoned them, and now they just like wander the cityscape aimlessly.
That's really depressing.
Yeah, it's a little
You're bumming
dark.
me out on my cool, fun Waterworld ride.
Yeah, half of them have like one eye and they're like limping around. And shit.
I gotta say, on the ride thing, we did talk about, at least in the ep description, we said that Pirates of the Caribbean, greatest movie ever made based on a ride. This is the shittiest movie with one of the coolest fucking attractions I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
dude.
I wish we could have gone to Universal Studios and
put that
watched
as
the
part of this review.
Yeah,
because
well-
I did go maybe 7 or 8 years ago to Universal Studio.
They
and
still do it?
and it was awesome.
There's a
It's so-
Waterworld ride.
Oh, you haven't heard about
No,
this?
it's not a ride. It's a show.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a whole performance where they're on jet skis, on water, like stuff's blowing up,
There's
things
explosions and
are on
shit,
fire,
yeah.
all sorts of crazy, wild things.
It's almost like this movie is like an attraction and not a movie, right?
Right.
Like, you don't need character development when you got cool explosions.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. It feels like one of the big action sequences
Yeah.
is the entertainment at Universal Studio. And it's
Yeah.
cool. It's very cool.
Which makes sense. They put all the money into the stunts and
Yeah.
the practical effects, and they really cut the budget on the writing.
Yeah.
And Kevin Costner was their best option for the Drifter.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was he's one of the producers, so I think he really wanted to have this movie made. Be curious to hear more of the background. There's probably a sick documentary on this movie that I need to check out. I'd love to hear all about the making of this.
Yeah.
But this is the part that's filmed on the Big Island, the Valley of Kings. It's
Beautiful.
fucking, again, yes, dude, so fucking welcome.
They
My
find the-
eyes.
They find the freshwater waterfall, which is great.
They
Just-
figure out all of the they find the little hut. They realize that, like, oh, they must have been dying. They're like fully decomposed skeletons.
Yeah.
Right.
And this girl is how old? I mean,
I
don't know how long it takes
Were
to
they supposed to be her
decompose.
parents? Because
they're the ones who
Yeah.
tattooed her.
Yeah.
I thought that they were kind of alluding to that, but I had
Well, she
also had
finds
that
the
same thought.
music
I'm like, why would they
box.
be skeletons?
Like she says, "I'm home." Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So I think what happened, maybe they're not her parents. Maybe they're her grandparents or something. Maybe they were her parents and they had some weird disease in there. Who knows, right? But like, it seems like the whole procedure was that they knew that they were dying. They couldn't take care of her anymore, and instead of keeping her on an island that's replete with probably fruit and fresh water, they said the best thing we can do is put a map to our house, tattoo it on her back, which the moral implications of doing that to an infant, a little weird, but whatever. I think there's thing that's done in other cultures. And then they set her out afloat in a big jar of dirt. Because remember, she does say that she's seen soil that looks even better than the one that the mariner has, which is funny because this is underground soil, underwater soil. But Helen says that when they found Enola, she was in this thing of like this really rich, beautiful soil, right? So I guess she drifted to the atoll, which, again, that means dry land is that close
Yeah.
to them. It has
Yeah.
been this whole time.
Yeah. Or they were out and about when they found her. I mean, I don't think they say that she drifted up right to the town, but like, yeah, it's all a big stretch.
Yeah,
right?
it is all a big stress. Because even if they found, but
How long was she
Wild.
out at sea without water?
wild.
Yeah.
One of those
Yeah.
things
They
where you
don't-
just like, looks cool, sounds cool. When you think about it too much, it kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
They don't really give you a sense of distance, and I feel like at maybe any point in the movie they could have sort of shown that somehow.
Everything
I mean,
happens in such a convenient sort of way, and I
Yeah.
think that's so true. Like, because when we talk about scale, like, it's not just a sense of like physical scale, but like scale of any sort of dimension, like time as well, like the scale of time, and like you're saying, the distances they cross and the time it takes. And again, with a longer form sort of thing, that could have maybe been like better executed.
Sure.
And again, like maybe this isn't the story to tell for this kind of movie in this setting, like under these constraints, but as it seems like it spiraled out of their control, like it like a whole fucking fish monster of its own.
right. When we were at Waterworld, it'll be Gladiator in the Waterworld, right?
Yeah.
Like some Colosseum battles happening.
Yeah.
Some wars, factions.
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of what Thunderdome is, right? Gladiator, Mad Max.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. We see horses,
We
Yeah.
do. We see some
We see
wild
horses.
horses. That's
which
sick.
has been set up, and it's fun to see that life goes on.
Love
That's kind of the
horses.
payoff of the movie.
I heard that life finds a way.
Life does find a way. I've heard that too. Mariner's leaving. I don't belong here, he says.
Yeah, it's too strange. Doesn't move right. She's
I
like,
do
it's-
like that.
It's
That
only
is-
land sickness.
Land
No,
Land
sickness also
sickness
good,
was
yeah.
fun. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
It's good. I like that. I like how connected he is to the ocean. And then like she gives him the music box. I do feel like there is this level of like we're never gonna see each other again. It's
Yeah,
like,
why?
that's
He should
that's
come
not-
back, right?
He's definitely gonna come back.
Yeah. I find it interesting that they did a bittersweet ending. It works for me in that, like, it makes sense with his character and like.
No, I like that he leaves, but
Yeah.
like it's also
But it feels
they
abrupt.
make it really tragic.
Yeah,
feeling,
it doesn't
you know?
feel like it paid off enough. Like, yeah, I wanted more from the final conversations.
Yeah.
It
We
just-
don't really know how long he's been there. It's like, did you
Yeah.
just get here and now you're leaving?
Well, now they have
or-
boats, so I pictured.
I think there was a boat. He like turns and looks and sees a boat at one
Yeah,
point.
it could be the same day.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure.
I think there was just a boat there.
Right. Yeah, we got the kiss goodbye. Yeah, I wanted more from the final goodbye between him and Helen. But then we get a final shot of them watching from the cliffside as,
I also
as he leaves.
I kind of like that it's kind of detached because like, like I feel like movies are like, oh, we kissed, now we're in love. Like that's such a typical thing, and like it is kind of more real life that they were like, we were under danger. We kind of like got into each other, we kissed, and we like had sex on like top of floating like debris, and like you're going your way, I'm going mine. I'm kind of bummed, but like I'm not losing out on the love of my life,
Yeah, that's
Because
an
the
interesting
romantic
point.
relationship is not super important in this movie.
Yeah, it's a good point. I kind of just took it as they do love each other, but his way of life is
That's
just
what
too
they're
foreign.
going for.
Yeah,
But the consequences of the like decisions that are making the filmmaking allow
Yeah.
me to have this like fucking ass backwards interpretation of it that works for me, you know?
Yeah, sure. Where it's like it was more of a fling than something
Yeah.
super meaningful.
Which they did not intend to do, but it's kind of cool that kind of came out of it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, bittersweet ending. Credits.
Like I said, more casual, non-committal sex and I'm just joking.
Did you keep track of when they had sex? Was it sex at 60, as you've been saying? I'm not sure exactly.
It's like around the it's a midpoint-ish. It's the
Okay.
denouement, the fucking, the all is lost sort of moment.
Totally. Well, yeah, that's Waterworld, everyone.
That was Waterworld.
I guess we'll do our ratings now. Jacob.
Do you want to go
So-
first?
Yeah, we can
I'll
go first.
I put a lot of thought into this, guys, but it didn't hit like it did when I was younger.
Sure.
And maybe it's because I can see through,
You have-
bad character writing and stuff.
Yeah, you have a lot
nowadays,
more
and-
understanding of what it's like to be a
Yeah.
person.
But
now that you're a
it
kid.
is a fun movie. Like the stunts are cool, the sets are great. But I'm gonna have to give it a C.
I will ride that line right there with you. It's gonna get a C tier from me. We like to say C tier accomplishes entertaining.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of
we
like
enjoyed it. We had fun.
yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna sit right there with you. A lot of the performances fell really flat. I was really taken by Jean Triplehorn, the person who plays Helen.
Yeah.
But like it was more like I was like, I like her. She's pretty. She's nice to like look at. I like Kevin Costner's earring, but
the clam earring.
a lot of the even like this. Yeah, I mean Dennis Hopper he's got a really entertaining performance, but again, he's not in the movie, you know.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. I also C tier.
Wait, can I say something?
Go ahead, baby.
It's SEA tier.
Oh, a
C tier. Fuck.
I will say though, at the start of the movie, I was wondering if it was B tier because, like I said, I really did like that first act a lot.
Yeah, the
And,
first act was almost flawless.
like I don't know about flawless, but in terms of just like setting up the world, making me
For
like,
campy action movie,
Yeah.
kind of like on almost like on
Yeah,
that
like,
like sort of level of
it
like.
was like I was very intrigued to be dropped back into this world. I wanted to know more about
It's
what
one
was
of those
happening.
movies where like you find shit out and it's kind of like a bummer. Like
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say I was bummed out, but I just like I
just
feel
not
like
as
I was
much as you thought it was.
I was
gonna be.
more excited to learn about the world at the end of the first act than I was at the end of the third act, at the end of the movie.
The gill reveal happens too fast, I think.
Mm.
That could be revealed later in the movie.
Actually, I don't mind that so much, but I do think it could. Again, I think this idea of like, this sort of setup of like the Mariner being talked about or whatever,
I guess, yeah, and he's an outsider. as
Yeah, I mean,
well, so
since they're setting up his arc as being a reject of society, it makes sense to show the mutation early on as why he's a reject from society. But yeah, the majority of the movie is kind of just like undercooked action schlock to an extent, but all that stuff is very fun. And yeah, I was kind of bouncing back. I'm like, could this be B tier? And then by the end of the movie, I'm like, no, it's a solid, fun movie. Like a lot of stuff didn't work for me totally, but like it's good.
Yeah, it's honestly to the point where like the cinematography wasn't even like, I like to talk about this like sort of like Jaws does a really good job of employing a lot of like very craftfully done like what I like to call like blue collar sort of like cinematography or like working man cinematography, which there's this like beauty in its utilitarianism, which I think is a problem with this movie in general. Like again, a lot of it stems from like look first, idea first, like these things seconds. And despite all the process shots, again, I feel like there is very much like it's like this would be cool to do. Like let's not really worry too much about how the whole process works.
Yeah.
Which is, again, interesting because with all the machinery and shit, they do a good job of that, but like it doesn't expand towards the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think C is a very reasonable rating for this movie. If someone were to give it a B, totally understand that as well, because I think there is enough fun. Like it depends how immersed you are in the world and
If
stuff.
somebody was going to give this a B tier, I would say to them, I'm going to tear out your cute little lungs.
But yeah, it's hard for me to imagine someone giving this an A or an S, but like,
Yeah, I mean, there's people who I know who like their relationship to film. For example, the lead singer in our band, Ben, he loves like his sort of like passion for film is like B movie, like horror movies.
Sure.
Like, and so I think there are people who have that, who have these different sort of like outlooks on
Yeah.
film. And I mean, even between the two of
Oh,
us,
yeah.
and honestly, between the three of us, we all have different like
Totally.
sort of like looks on thing. Like me, like you give me like a 15-minute like single shot of something and you tell me this is art and like that this guy, one guy made it, you know, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure, I totally get it. Like, you know, and I would be the pretentious douchebag to buy into it for no reason other than you're telling me that I should.
And yeah, and I am very into, like, I think the perfect kind of middle ground for me is I love really fun stuff, but with the like high art aspects. Like we were talking about with Jaws last week. Like Jaws is a very fun movie that is also like very artistic. It has some great dialogue, great character development. I think that's kind of like that sweet spot for me.
Yeah, it felt like Waterworld kind of lacked the artistry.
Yeah,
You know,
besides the set design stuff and
Yeah. Those people all deserve awards. But in the world building is fine and everything. But
Some of it
like
is kind of just like junk. Let's just throw
Yeah.
junk on the screen.
I wasn't blown away by many of the shots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There wasn't shots that like really pulled any emotion out of me or anything like that.
It's not like the thing I'm trying to get at too. It's not even that efficiency of like, oh, this shot is framed in this way and this person enters and does this and it's like very simply done. But like, oh, so like this movie, I think they do let action sequences breathe like a lot more than like modern sort of Marvel like action cutting. So I think the editing in that respect is like good in that way that it lets that happen, but it's not like you're not like, oh, like that was really smart to like put the camera here and do this. It's very much just like put the camera there, do this, put the camera there, do that, you know.
Totally. Well, hell yeah, guys. Thank you so much for coming on, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This
Yeah,
was a blast.
fucking killer, dude. I had a fucking great time. Fucking knocked her out of the park.
Me too. Next week.
Next week we're fucking talking about one of my favorite directors.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
say. Friggin' Wes Anderson himself.
Yep.
Life Aquatic
Yep.
with Steve Zissou.
That'll, yeah.
Ooh.
I'm so fucking
That's
Ride
one
us
of his
through,
best
uh,
movies.
Yeah, no, a lot of people love it. It's not my favorite Wes Anderson movie, but I do think it's great, and I'm very excited to revisit
I
it.
fucking love it. Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be great.
It'll be our last aquatic movie, and we'll be spinning the legally distinct
Movie roulette.
movie roulette, and
Yeah.
choosing our next category next time.
Hell
so.
yeah. As I said, Jacob and I play in a band around here in Seattle. Working on releasing our second album. That name is Laminate. You can find us on social media, LLAMINATE. And then, of course, look out for Cinema Forecast, FOURCAST. Haven't found any 5-star reviews or anything lately, so nothing to read here. But yeah, anyway, we'll catch you next time, folks.
Hell yeah, guys. See you then.